Redeemer. All praise is due to Allah, the guardian and evolver, the cherisher and sustainer of all the systems of knowledge. The merciful benefactor, the merciful Redeemer, the sole judge on the day of judgment. We worship you only, and we turn to you begging assistance. Guide us on the straight way, the way of those whom you bestow blessings, not those who incur wrath, nor of those who go astray. Ameen. So, dear brothers and sisters, this is a very momentous occasion for us. And we're so happy that so many of you were able to join us for the Jumu'ah yesterday. If you didn't get the Jumu'ah tape, I think we have CDs. Please get it. It was very informative. How many would say that was very informative? All praise is due to Allah. I can say that in front of the Imam, he won't get big-headed. You know, some people you say that to, you know, that head get big and they start to expand and start thinking, I know something. No, whatever we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to know it. This month is very important to us as a community of people and a religious movement. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad observed February 26th as the birthday of his savior, W.D. Farad. The Nation of Islam under Minister Farrakhan, still to this day, they have this day as a celebration of W.D. Farad's birthday. And also, we know on this day, in 1975, Imam W.D. Muhammad became our leader. We've been in existence, brothers and sisters, since 1930. That is 90 years. And I know that 90-year celebration have occurred in many places. And I believe Detroit is one of them. And we know that Detroit is the place where it all began with Mr. Farad, who was selling garments, silk garments. And he used to tell our people, this is what your people wore when they lived in their own land before slavery. That was a way to get into conversation and to communicate with our people. It is clear now that he used that as a method to engage the poor, uneducated, downtrodden African American during the Great Depression. And in Detroit, he met Sister Clara Evans Poole, and we know her as Sister Clara Muhammad, and her husband Elijah Poole, that we always say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we know that Mr. Farad's work was our beginning and made it possible to build a foundation that have enabled many Muslims to migrate to America and find great opportunity. Some of the brothers from overseas that I consider to be my friends have told me in conversation that if it was not for our community, they would have had a much more difficult time trying to get established here in America. Many of them was here, but were incognito. They didn't want any attention brought to them. You know, so you may have seen it. I know I've experienced this in talking to a Muslim. You know he's from overseas, and they have a tag or a name tag that says Mo. I know he's Muhammad. Or name, what is your name, brother? My name is Sam. Well, I know his name is Shamsuddin. But now, they were people who were trying to get established, and they felt like being in America, a non-Muslim country, it'll be an obstacle. So that's why they chose not to use their names. In the Nation of Islam, we were told to use X. I remember, brothers and sisters, that I was working at this time that I'm talking about now at AMP Incorporated in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I was what kind of tools was that? Yeah, I was inspecting tools. And we had this book called The Fall of America. Y'all remember the book? I took that book to work with me and it was on my desk. They never said anything to me, but I think they must have been saying, that Negro is crazy. But I didn't try to hide the fact that I was a member of the Nation of Islam. It was under the Nation of Islam. It was a Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that made Islam as we knew it then, and the terms Muhammad and the Quran, popular in America. Without that movement, there would have been no Malcolm X. There would have been no Minister Louis Farrakhan. There wouldn't have been no Muhammad Ali. There would not have been Imam W.D. Muhammad. You know, Allah works in ways that we can't always understand. And I think that's why the Bible says, I will bring my people by a way they knew not. I believe in our case that was the role that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam played in our development as a community of Muslims in America. So let us not think that the Nation of Islam was not in Allah's plan. Nothing can happen without Allah's permission. The condition of our people here necessitated a new approach to bring us out of the mental slavery into the light of Al-Islam. So although the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not the man who introduced us to Al-Islam as we know it now, he never claimed to be. He said, I'm not teaching you the religion. He said someone else will do that job. And all praise is due to Allah, we live to see that come true. He did a superb job of laying a foundation for his son, Wallace D. Muhammad, who led us to true Al-Islam without the help of anybody coming from overseas. About 3 to 4 months ago, the Nation of Islam historical guru, a brother by the name of Minister Carlos Muhammad, who actually works with our Imam in Baltimore, Imam Earl Al-Amin, from time to time. He came here to visit me and some of the brothers in our men's class. He was accompanied by several of the local members of the Nation of Islam and an old buddy of mine with whom I was very close to when we lived in Baltimore in the early 70s. Now this brother, Minister Carlos, is a part of the new transition that has been taking place in today's Nation of Islam. And he is heavily influenced by the Nation of Islam only Imam, Sultan Muhammad, who was hired by Minister Farrakhan to teach his followers and aid him in his efforts to change the Nation of Islam. Imam Sultan came here to this masjid and talked to me about helping him with his work here. The first thing he told me was that he was a follower of his great uncle, Imam W.D. Muhammad. He said he needed help to teach Salat because he was getting a lot of resistance. The old membership were conditioned to resist change. Now, we know something about that ourselves, don't we? During our transition, while the majority of the followers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad stayed with Imam Muhammad and were blessed to make the transition, there were others who did not. Darlene and I, my wife and I, we joined the Nation of Islam in 1968. She came in 1969 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, a part of the Delaware Valley under Philadelphia. We are the only two survivors who made the transition from that time. I have a little book, a little pink book with our pictures in it. You know, you can see this weekend, it's going to be on display. And some of the brothers looked at that book and said, that's Brother Jamal. No, that was Brother Khalil. When Brother Khalil weighed 148 pounds, I would try to get on the mothership. And Sister Darlene. Okay, all praise due to Allah. But why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because I'm pointing out that the transition took place and a lot of people didn't make it. Those brothers that you will see standing with me in that little book, most of them left. Some of them passed. Some went to church. In other words, when the church was taken out of the masjid, then people decided to go back to the church. I'm not making fun. This is just reality. Under Minister Farrakhan, they're having the same difficulties to make a transition. And I want to say this to you all, sisters and brothers. The last time Imam Muhammad came here, we were on our way downtown. And I asked him about Ben Chavis. You all know Ben Chavis? Ben Chavis had a meeting with Rahman Khan and myself and told us that Imam Muhammad was going to join them for their Million Man celebration. It was the second one. And I sort of said, I don't know about this. So I asked Imam. Imam said, I don't know anything about that. said, I don't know anything about that. He said, but I want you all to know, of all the groups that you work with, now this is what he said, all the groups, don't neglect working with the Nation of Islam, because he said that's the only way they're going to come out of that mindset. Wow. And I remember that. See? While Brother Minister Carlos, and I think they call themselves suit ministers, when he was here, he shared some very important information with us. He had a recording of the actual voice of Sister Clara Muhammad when she was welcoming members of the Nation of Islam who had traveled to Chicago to hear her husband. Very important to me, because I never heard her voice before. I never saw her walking and talking to people. I think we have that here. Don't we have that here? I thought I shared it. And we were supposed to have it on the monitor out there so that you all could see it. He also shared a letter written by Mr. Farad telling Honorable Elijah Muhammad to take care of W.D. Muhammad and not to feed him the wrong food. Now, years ago, I would have thought that meant don't feed him pork. Don't feed him, you know how we look, and I would have thought about how to eat to live. But I'm sure now that he meant not to allow him to be influenced by people coming from different places in the world to influence him. Because we have a peculiar situation. It's not enough for us just to hear the Quran recited. It's not enough for us just to say that we're Muslim. Because our situation is just that peculiar. When we talk about Imam Muhammad and his work among us, let us not just say he brought to us the Quran and the Sunnah. Some of you imams remember Imam Muhammad said, you know, there are imams that say, well, Imam, you brought to us, you gave us a Quran and a Sunnah. He said, is that all I did? You can go anywhere and get that. You have people who visit us, all they talk about is the Quran and the Sunnah. And to them, it's more artifacts and culture than anything else. No, he did more than that. Allah blessed him with the knowledge and the logic of how to apply al-Islam to this peculiar situation of African American people. In the light of what I'm sharing with you, I believe that it is important for us to observe our historical roots and to share it with our membership, young and old. 90 years of existence is very significant, and we don't want to dismiss this importance, because we believe that Farad came in July 4, 1930. Now, in his late years, Imam began to observe Savior's Day. Listen, plural, Savior's Day. Not Savior with the apostrophe, S. Savior's Day, that's plural, right? So it's not just about the birthday of W.D. Farad. Now, I attended two of them, the first in Chicago at a church, and the second in Detroit, which the Imam did not make because he missed the plane. Why Savior Day instead of Savior Day? We are not celebrating Master W.D. Farhad's birthday. We honor him and respect his great work among us. Imam W.D. Muhammad recognized this, but he also recognized the contribution and sacrifice that all of our great late leaders in the past, like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Sojourner of Truth, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Martin Luther King, and many others who gave their lives for the upliftment of African American people. If you've been reading in the Muslim Journal over the years, you know that this Savior's Day has been happening annually throughout our community. This is the first time it is being observed in Charlotte, and we are blessed to have as our special guest Imam Darnell Karim and his wife, Sister Gloria Karim. Allahu Akbar. We're also happy to be joined by Imams of Masjid in Charlotte, Abdul Pasha, Masjid Ali Shah, Imam John Ramadan of Masjid Al-Razak, and Imam Tamir Mutakabir of Masjid Al-Mukminoon of Statesville as co-sponsors of this event. Our other Imams are here. Imam Ash-Shaheed, visiting Imam. Imam Talib Mehdi from Boston. Imam Muhammad Idris, he was here. I don't know if he's still here. And Imam Rahim from Charleston. And all of you are honorable brothers and sisters. The Quran says we are all born honorable. Karamni Bani Adam. We are all born honorable. So you are honorable. And I feel privileged to be sitting here before you honorable people. Sister Naomi Feast had an excellent exhibit yesterday. I couldn't stay for the entire feast because I had to take my wife home. You know, she's resting. You know, she's overcoming an illness. You know, so all praise is due to Allah. But what I heard was very excellent. But I heard you give that presentation before. And she always does a good job. I want to thank our event committee, Abdullah Halal, Khalida Abdul Aziz, Imam Ash-Shaheed and his wife, Suhaira. If you all have there's a little book. Where's the little booklet? See this book? It's really nice. And we're put together by Imam Ash-Shaheed and his wife. Brother Amin Sharif and his wife Bilkis, Sister Wakila. We thank each of them for assisting us with organizing this program, and I'm hoping I didn't miss anybody. Also, the Imam David Hassan, I'm sorry, he's sitting over there. I saw his wife, says, oh, I know she didn't drive up by herself. She probably drove, but he was there.
I drove this time.
Alhamdulillah.
Imam Karim.
Yes.
She's keeping him straight.
Yeah.
I know.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, he's much better off now.
I'm better off.
You're better off now, brother. He's married. He has his other half. That's what I mean.
What you mean?
Yes, sir. Also for our food, Kimberly Akbar, Jerry and his helpers prepared this brunch. Can you all imagine? Look at that in the back. One thing about Ash-Shaheed, if you keep coming here, we will make you fat. When I moved to Charlotte, I was 170 pounds. Now I'm 228 pounds of hustle and muscle. Yeah. All right. We're going to ask our visiting imam, those who I could not visit, our co-sponsoring imam, to address the audience. And we're going to ask them to be very conscious of time. We're going to give each one of them 5 to 7 minutes. Then a major address from Imam Darnell Karim and his wife, Sister Gloria, who will make remarks as well. Then we will break for Salat and come back for our fireside chat, facilitated by Naila El-Amin and Sister Sophia Baldwin, both active young adults in our community. And we will conclude, inshallah, at 4:30. So I'd like to ask the imams, I don't know don't care about the order, Tamir, Pasha, Ramadan, doesn't matter what door. You say you want to go last. 7 minutes, Imam Ramadan.
Yes, sir.
Could you allow the imam from Boston?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Imam Talib, he came all the way from Boston. Really appreciate it. So you come up and say a few words. Come on. We appreciate you taking time out from your busy work to be with us. Thank you, Brother Imam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم. I want to thank Brother Imam Khalil. Thank you for putting on this program with the other imams. I got an invitation, really. I was talking to Brother Lawrence. You all know he came from Boston.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
he moved here. That's what he told me, brother.
I probably would if I wasn't married. But when he told me that you all were putting on this program, I was thinking about going somewhere anyway. So I said, well, let me come back down here to see the believers, because every time we have come down here, we've always felt like at home. So, up north, up Boston's kind of cold up there, so in my mind, I'm saying, well, it's got to be warmer here than there. I was surprised, though. It was kind of cold. But alhamdulillah, we just want to thank you all. Really just thank you for putting on a program like this, because it's really important for the community to remember our past. The more we remember and recall our past, the better off our future will be. So we want to thank you, and I believe that I'm even going to try to go back to Boston and suggest that we maybe do this ourselves there, because it's needed everywhere, again, with the right concept and idea of our history, and so that our youth will know that we're not, and they're not working in vain, that we've come from somewhere, and we have to go somewhere, we have to reach our destiny. And our destiny really is, they're part of that destiny. So we hope that Allah will allow us to live long enough to, inshallah, go back to Boston and maybe share with share with the believers, and maybe we can do this there in Boston and have you all come down to Boston to visit us. So thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Imam Pasha, Imam Mutakabir.
Thank you. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Assalamu alaikum.
So we can hear you, brother.
Can y'all hear me? Okay. I was trying to decide was I going to go by some things I had written down or just go with what I knew. And I was a little bit confused, so I think the best way to do something when you're not sure or whatever is say, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. But I would ask you to look at the small booklet that Imam Ash-Shaheed and his wife prepared. It's a real good book. It's sort of a condensed version of the material that we gave him. And I can only condense the life of Imam Ali Shah in this little short take, and I would like to use the name of Brother Larry. That's for the people who knew him as Brother Larry or Larry X from New York before Imam Muhammad gave him the name of Ali Shah. And I met him in, I think, around 1970 at a Shabazz fish steak and take restaurant in North Charlotte on the corner of Belmont and Davidson Street. And I was working with a Christian preacher, and I was working for an exterminating company, and we were getting ready to leave. And for those who you all remember that restaurant, when you go in there, you go down a little bit, sort of drop down. And so here was a person, we was down like this, and here was this person coming to us, and he was already elevated, and then his height elevated him more. And he said, brother, what you do? And I said, it was just that direct. And I said, well, I work for a kilo. And he said, well, you can do that yourself. Never met me, but that was the first seed that was planted on me by him. But the things that I will try to share with you in this short time that impressed me by him, and I was able to be around him for a long time, I think about 28 years. And I know most folks know about his blazing trail attributes, fearlessness, developing the school, Sister Clara Muhammad School, farmland, FOI houses for the brothers and the sisters, daycare, like I say, the restaurants, sending us out to all these cities in North Carolina, every city probably in North Carolina, in the state of North Carolina, where a lot of times they didn't even have a stoplight there. And South Carolina, parts of South Carolina, and he heard this before, but he used to call us Daniel Boone. And we didn't fear anything or anybody. And so he was a man of many. When I think about him, I think about how he and the other earlier followers were really setting us up for Imam Muhammad in the Quran, because he always pushed education, he always pushed economics, and he always pushed the political world. If you look at those pictures, you will see the mayor, former mayor, Harvey Gantt on there. You will see doctors on there. You will see people we say in the professional fields on those pictures out there. And so he always pushed those things from the ground up. And so also he was a family man, very, very, remember now, his mindset from born in South Carolina, he goes to Baltimore, he goes to New York. And from New York, they go to blaze trails out in California. So he comes back to New York, and these are his words now. You know, I hear some people say, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sent him. But his words were that he asked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, could he come here? And of course he said yes, because when they were in California, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Imam Darnell Karim will probably know this, he said that when Malcolm came to California, Malcolm X, he asked him to resign. And he said that, who told you that? He said, the messenger left me in charge. And these was his words. So Imam Shah resigned. He had 400 brothers in his squad. He said they cried like babies because he took care of them. And he came back to California. That's when he came back to New York, and he asked to come here to Charlotte, North Carolina. And it was a Christian preacher that really invited him to come here. Used to be at Friendship Church, Reverend Coleman. He's passed now. So that's pretty much how it started after I met him. Of course, the brothers come around in neighborhoods, and you were using bad language to them because they were very aggressive. They were going, you're going to buy the bean pie, or you're going to buy the paper, or they're going to make you buy. And I was really rejectful of them doing that. But when I look at it, I see where, it worked out real good for us. But he loved education and young people. And again, I spent a lot of time with him, one-on-one. Just like some of these men spent a lot of time with Imam Muhammad, 7 or 8 years. I spent a lot of time with him, one-on-one. And I could say that I learned a lot. And also, I want to talk about, he was a very charitable person, a very forgiving person. Sometimes he would do things for people who had done something to him, and I would say, well, brother, man, why did you do that? He said, well, I'm not that kind of man. So a lot of things he would do, I wouldn't understand it. He would explain it to me. Another thing, when I was going through the divorce, I remember this, I took my children, and, we tried to be all big, bad, muscle, we the king. And this is what he said to me, and I think he said that to you too. He said, brother, take those children back to that woman. And I'm like, why? They my children. He said, those children need their mother more than they need you. So, but it's a lot of things, ethical things, small things that he always taught us. I had a habit of reading the paper, which I've always liked to read, and I would read and eat. And he said to me, he said, brother, don't read the paper and eat. I said, why? He said, because you're passing germs. Now, he was telling me that 40-some years ago. He said, you're passing germs. So he was a very cultured person, you know, very, very cultured person. And he taught us a lot of things about social life, family life. Like when brothers were coming, like, and sisters were coming, like they're coming now. Most of the time they got a girlfriend, they got a boyfriend. Some of them were living together. And he would always preach this: if you care enough about them sisters, marry them or leave them alone. So he always pushed those excellent qualities for us as a community. But I could say a lot, and I would never end it, but I'll conclude with this. He fed a lot of people. He did for a lot of people. He taught us about leadership. And he taught us this, that if you can't follow, you can't lead. You can't be a good leader if you're not a good follower. And he was a very obedient leader to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to him that you always have a place at my table because of the work that he did. And he also said this, that Honorable Elijah Muhammad never had to come and tell him what to do. Never. And later on, Imam Muhammad gave him that name. And obviously some brothers was kicking it because Imam Muhammad said that them brothers say, don't bother him. Leave him alone. He knew leadership. You know, he knew leadership. So I thank Allah for him and his family. His children, they always work. A lot of us worked with the children in the school. We took them out in the neighborhood, but they didn't come up eating ice cream. They had to work also and do things and work in the school. His wife also, you know, these things would not have been possible without her. And but it was good having a relationship with him, personal relationship with him. But there's so many things that I learned. He was able to teach me about all of the brothers and the sisters in New York and Chicago, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's family, all those things. I could just ask some questions about these things. And then finally, he the one taught us about Imam Muhammad, Imam W.D. Muhammad. And we started putting his lectures on the radio here. First time anybody, Muslim or Christian, had ever heard a person saying the Al-Fatiha on the radio in Arabic. But look where we are today. And so, let's see here. And also, I can say, thank Allah first, number one. But from meeting him, it took me from that journey. And he is the one who taught me and encouraged me all the time to read the Quran. Always read it. And he said, when you keep Allah first in the Quran, nobody can harm you. And so as much more I can say, I'd like to say, but inshallah, another time. Have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, brother, man. Thank you very much. All right, inshallah, we're going to ask Imam Mutakabir. I just want you all to remember 5 to 7 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes, because the keynoter is here. So we don't want 4 keynoters.
Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. This is a special honor. And before I forget, I'd like to thank Imam Khalil and Imam Omar. These are 2 people who I saw every day. I want not every day, but every Jummah. And I learned from. And that's important. I've only been to one Savior's Day, and I know that some of you have been to a lot of them. Some of you might have been to all of them. But in 1974, I got on a bus and we went up to Chicago. And being from Florida and attending a storefront mosque in Tampa, Florida, it was I would say about 25 of us. I had never seen Muslims in those great numbers that I saw in Chicago. It changed me all the way until now. You know, I had examples. I had friends who had drug problems. I had friends who was just running after the sisters, you know, all that they could do. And we were different. And it was only two of us. I had a friend who invited me to the temple at the time in Tampa, Florida. We were both in 10th grade. And he became a Muslim and I became a Muslim. I sat on the front row. And that was it. They had a powerful minister, Minister John. I don't know where he is now, but he was something. And I was so happy to see Savior's Day being done, I'm going to say on a regional level. You know, Imam Omar, I spoke to him a few moments ago, and I said, you know, you may have started the first Savior's Day away from Chicago, because he did it 2 or 3 years ago in Columbia, South Carolina. And it was wonderful. And it's going to get better and greater, and in more cities and in more mosques. It's just so wonderful. And as has already been mentioned, one brother said, it's good for the youth, and it is. That museum in that room is powerful. It's just so powerful. I think Atlanta did it at one time some years ago, but that museum is wonderful. And what we did, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how he cleaned us up in more ways than one. The blessings that Elijah Muhammad initiated, only Allah can realize those. I didn't pray in the church. I did not pray. There was so many people praying, we didn't have to pray. I mean, everybody was praying in the church and singing. So I didn't pray very, very much. I prayed when I became a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I began to pray. And at Hampton University, in room 100, James Hall, there were so many beautiful women on the campus. I said, I did a dua like this. You know, that's how we used to pray, right? I said, oh Allah, help me find a beautiful wife, a good wife. And it's been 42 years and we're still at it, okay? So that's been, and I mean, it's so many, when I sit and think about the good things I've gotten from being associated with this community, it's just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. I wouldn't have went to college. I wouldn't have done any of those things. And that's just a credit to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, I was so loyal. I'm going to share this with you now. Don't tell nobody else this. I was so loyal, I called Chicago. The sister was on the phone. I said, I'm going to college. What do I need to major in to help this community? And she went and talked to somebody. I don't know, you know, she came back to the phone and said, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, nature helps us to do certain things better than others. I said, oh, okay. That was it. And from that Sunday afternoon, sitting on the front row in Tampa, Florida, I haven't looked back. We still work. We still want our community to do well. And we work with what Allah has given us. I told somebody the other day, I'm not in the begging business. We work with what we have. And we move on. And let me say this one last thing, Brother Imam. Things are changing. And if we had not become the universal thinkers that we are, following Imam Muhammad, we have a lot of fitna going on. Because in the mosque in Statesville, I got Syria, I got Mali, I got Liberia, I got Nigeria. Okay? And you got to know how to deal. I'm serious, you got to know how to deal. I got hillbilly Muslims. They come here and they come to Statesville, in case y'all didn't know. They come here, but they come to Statesville. And they're in the classes and they're participating. And you have to come with sincerity, and you have to come with Quran, and you have to shine the light where it should be shined. You know? And without Imam Warthi Muhammad, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. That's just the truth. All right? Assalamu alaikum.
Imam John Ramadan.
I'm going to surprise everybody with this 5 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum.
He's whispering in my ear. He said, I'm going to surprise everybody.
With this 5 minutes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. First of all, this is a very sensitive thing when you start talking about human development. And all of it has a start, it has a genesis, it has a primal origin. And when you look at what we have been through as a people, it's pretty powerful when you track it up to where we are now. And basically, we come from West Africa. And we come through the Middle Passage, all that slavery. Millions of people were lost in the trip over here. And when we got here, we were deprived of our language, our culture. Our families were torn completely apart. You know, when you think about our mothers and sisters being raped, and not only were they raped, the men were raped. The men that stood up and would be a man, they would rape them in front of their children to demean them and demasculate them. And through all this, to hold us down, you know that they're not going to give us a religion to lift us up. You think about that. They're not going to give you something. All that holding us down was for a reason, was to keep us down. Oh, yeah. And when I look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm not going to let nobody say nothing about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because he saved my life and the life of many others. And the Honorable Sister Clara Muhammad. What they did was divinely inspired. If you look at the historical significance of that situation, what was the plight of black people at that time? Getting hung, Jim Crow laws, no respect. And he came along with a method to bring us up out of that. Now, a lot of people might disagree with it, but when you're in the middle of the ocean drowning, I wouldn't care who threw me a rope. I would just want the rope to get out of that condition that I was in. So when you look at all of that, and you look at the fact that what we were given was something to give us dignity again. And when I went to the Savior's Day for the first time, it was in the 70s, maybe 71, and me and Imam Bachar went. I walked in there, and I saw all those women up top in that white. It was just covered. Everywhere you could see it was white. And the men were like militaristic. I said, man, this is right down my alley here. And not only that, wasn't no fear present. You know, it used to be black folks, man, that handkerchief head, looking down type. It wasn't no fear. I said, man, I need to be a part of this. And when he brought about what he brought about is all divinely inspired to move us to the point to where we are today. And W.D. Muhammad, he, without question, was set up to do the work that he's doing today, that he did for us. And I got a picture here. I just showed it to Imam Darnell Karim. It's a picture. It was in New York. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is in this picture. Imam Warfdeen Muhammad is in this picture. And they ain't got no fear, no gun nowhere. You see men walking like that with their head up. And that's what brought fear to the white man. Messed his mind up. What kind of people are they getting together? We need to stop this. Call Herbert Hoover, the FBI, start something. And all that was for a reason. Now, when you look at this whole thing, God, it says that God loved those that he put through adversity. That's what the prophet said, peace and prayers be upon him. In the Quran, it says with every difficulty there's relief. And it's repeated 2 times. And when it's repeated 2 times in the Quran, it's significant. Who do you know on this planet that been through more hell than the African American people? But God has rewarded us with Imam Warfdeen Muhammad. And this spiritual language, his tafsir, his commentary is so powerful. It's greater than anything you can think of. The people that come, this you were talking about, Imam Muda Kabir, about all the different people from different places. They come in the masjid and they hear the tafsir of Imam Muhammad, they don't know how to act. You know what a lot of them told me? Said, man, we just been going through the rituals and the changes. We ain't never had no understanding. But Imam Warfdeen Muhammad is breaking down the understanding for us. And that tafsir, let me say something else to you too, and I'm gonna close. I'm getting close to 5 minutes. I'm over. I'm on the back. Okay, I'm gonna close out. Look, he said I'm on the back side of it. You know, when you think about great imams, Hanbal, Hanafi, Malik, Shafi, all of those are connected with a certain culture. And see, we're exposed to Middle Eastern cultures, you know what I mean? Some of them we're exposed to it so much we want to be just like them. Instead of being like what Allah has given to us. Hanafi, he was from Yemen. Shafi, he was from, I think he was from Mecca. But listen at this. Their culture, their way of life influences their thinking. Now, don't you think a culture that you're comfortable with is going to be better for you than somebody else's culture? Everything that we went through with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was planned by God. Everything that we went through with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was planned by God. So this unique culture that we got, don't go around trying to copy somebody else. How simple is it for a horse to try to act like a cow? That's ignorant. Be what God has made you to. He done put us in a position that's great. And if Allah is all that you have, brothers and sisters, that's all that you need. See there, I cut it off.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, we appreciate everything that the Imams have brought to us. But I know that the Imam need to be last. They need to be last. Alhamdulillah. You give an Imam a mic, they're going to keep it for a little while. All right, so all praises. So we really appreciate the thing this year. Imam Darnell Karim. I'm going to read his bio for those of you who don't know him. Assistant to Imam W.D. Muhammad in Islamic Studies, Darnell Karim has been a practicing member of the Muslim community for over 74 years. Allahu Akbar. His entire education was attained under the direction of the University of Islam, Claire Muhammad School System. Mr. Karim began his studies in the Arabic language and Islamic studies at the age of 11. His instructors of the Arabic language were several. However, the most effective teacher was Professor Jamil Diab, who was his instructor for 10 years. Professor Diab was a Palestinian Muslim and an Al-Aqsa University graduate. His childhood friend and classmate was Imam W.D. Muhammad, who became the worldwide, respected Muslim leader to over 2.5 million. And among other classmates were Imam Darnell's wife, Gloria. She's here with us. Sister Sahira and the younger brother of Imam Muhammad, Dr. Akbar Muhammad, the late Dr. Akbar Muhammad, an associate professor at Binghamton University. Mr. Karim continued his studies under the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad and became an instructor of Islamic studies and Arabic in Claire Muhammad School from 1976 to 1987. He frequently traveled to Masjid throughout the United States to instruct Muslim adults in Islamic studies and the Arabic language. He is an avid supporter of the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad. May Allah give him the highest place in paradise. Mr. Karim, recitation of the Holy Quran has been considered equal to native-born Arabs, and his spiritual quality has brought forth tears in the eyes of many. His first recitation publicly at the age of 13 at the Nation of Islam Annual Convention in Chicago, Illinois, February 26, 1950, brought tears to the eyes of the late leader, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Imam Darnell Karim is the author of over 60 publications and recordings. Some of his accomplishments, too many to mention all here, include the following: his call to prayer, the Adhan, has been inducted in the Smithsonian Institute Museum. He received the key to the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1998. He is the Director of Islamic Affairs at Rush University Medical Hospital in Chicago. He received the President's Volunteer Service Award from the Office of President George W. Bush in 1996. Imam Karim established the Hafiz memorization of the Quran program. He also completed recordings, CDs of his Arabic recitation of the Quran with English translation by the late Imam Werner Farid. Each juz, 1/30 of the Quran, contains commentary or tafsir of Imam W.D. Muhammad. So, brothers and sisters, I think we are very honored to have Imam Darnell here with us, and we thought about having this program. The first person we thought about was him, and your presence here has been a blessing for us. And we're going to ask you at this time to come forth, and Sister Gloria is going to say something too, right? Okay, well then I'm going to sit there and listen to you two. Y'all come up front.
Picking up where you left off.
Don't forget the Imam told you to use a script. I was enjoying the Imams. I thought that was going to be it for the day. I did. Yeah, it's a lot of information from listening to the other Imams. Well, I brought a lot of, not a lot, I have some information here that I want to share with you, but I started going through all this here, and I said, I don't even need all this. I just use this just in case I might forget something, because Allah has stored it in me in Gloria. But we have it right there in the heart, you know. But I first of all, I wanted to really thank you all for welcoming us here. That's the first. Man, this is really nice. Thank you all of us. I don't know if we can say enough of it. We just thank you so much, and about 90% of you all I know in here. You know, and so I guess when he's reading off the thing, I don't think you're telling them anything new, Imam Khalil. I don't think you're telling them anything new, you know. And then when you was reading it off, I went in there to get my something, I come back and you still reading. I said, I know he ain't talking about me. No. But you know, me and Gloria, we feel so blessed. You all don't know. My father, Carl Omar, when he joined the nation, it was only about 4 years old. And I was 4 years old. But to me, I was born in the nation because I don't know anything about no church or anything. You know, my brother, Leroy, he was 6 and the Imam was 7 years old. And then Gloria wasn't even here yet. That's all I'm gonna say about her age. I ain't saying nothing else. And let's see. I think Honorable Elijah Muhammad was still on the road, kind of like, you know, traveling away from his family. And but when all of the men had got put in jail in the early 40s, my father was put in jail too, and he was in the same cell with Elijah Muhammad. With him, my father, Elijah Muhammad, and his oldest son, Emmanuel. And I went to, that must have been moving up the date a little bit. It was in 42, I think it was. I went with my mother and Sister Clara. I drove in their car, and it was a four-door Buick. I remember that car real good. Raymond Sharif was driving. And I rode with them to Milan, Michigan to meet with my dad. And I think I saw Elijah. I'm not for sure, but I knew he existed. I was thinking he was a minister. But anyway, I go back that far, you know, and then I'm thinking about when we were talking about Savior's Day today. I was going to explain some things about the Savior's Day, and that is that we didn't have the Savior's Day then. It didn't start until Elijah Muhammad came home, you know, from prison. That was the first one, because that was our big celebration that he came home from prison. And but we had Savior's Day in the homes. It was in different houses, because that's how small the community was. And as we were growing, Gloria's mother, Viola Karim, she was the private secretary to Elijah Muhammad for years. So those people who had, I don't know if some of you all back in then when you had to write a letter, get your ex or whatever, well, it was her mother was the one that approved of you. She read all the letters and examined all the penmanship, everything was Viola Karim that approved of everybody coming to the nation, you know.
I had to write mine 3 times.
I was going to ask you to call your mother and ask her, did you remember him sending his in? Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah. But you know, it's a science to that, too. It's a wisdom in that of you writing a letter and you didn't cross the T and put the dot there and all like that. It's a lot to say about all of that. In turn, it wasn't for play, it was for real. But anyway, just going back to that era and that time, living with the pioneers in their homes and going to school, when the school was only about 3 tables like this in Sister Idell's house on 45th Place. That was our University of Islam. Imam, Akbar, and all of the, Akbar was a little younger, but then he came to the school. And then Gloria and her sister, her brother and sister was older. Everybody was young, you know, and most of them, some wasn't born, they were babies. But it was all in one room we called the University of Islam. And they couldn't hire what they call degree teachers. So the parents became the teachers. And most of the parents didn't even finish high school. And so I remember the pioneers, what they would do, there was one of them, I remember Minister David. He had a horse and wagon, we call it. And he would use that horse and wagon to go up and down the alleys and pick up wood and paper and stuff like that and turn it at the end of the day to the garbage yard. And they would use that money to take care of themselves and also to keep what we call the school open. And Ephraim Baha was one of them. He was one of the main guys. He had a horse, he had a wagon where he had a big strap where he would carry stuff and down the alley. And he was the one that practically took care of Elijah Muhammad's children. When he bought the groceries and always made sure that they was fed. And that her brother, Lynn Kareem, he used to be with him, and when he get the groceries, he would take us to the door and give them some. So her brothers and sisters grew up with Elijah Muhammad's older children. So we had a good relationship in terms of family, you know, and moving up just a little bit, I just got to put Gloria in there a little bit, is where my father and her father was barbers. You know? So we go over each other's house to cut hair. And that's when I used to see Gloria. She was a little girl. She was only about 5 or 6 years old, you know. But she was still pretty. I wouldn't think about no marriage then, you know, of course not. Man, look, she got to be 13 years old, and me and Imam said it together and said, wow! Well, I did everything I could to make sure nobody else got her. We was in school together, and we studied together, everything, you know, and so I never dated her, you know, because that would have been a catastrophe to try to tell my dating her. It wasn't no dating at all in. The only dating I did was when my father, when I called, my sister, Rosie, would call Gloria, and then she put me on, but I couldn't call myself. So that was the doorway there. And boy, our Arabic classes with Jamil Diab, it's a movie itself. You can make a movie of it, of what we went through in that class. And I look back at some of those pictures of us in that classroom. Gloria on the end, Akbar in the middle, Imam on the end, and then I'm right in back of the Imam. And then my sister and her best friend, Darnell, who has passed away. That whole setting, brother and sister, you couldn't imagine that when you look back at it, you say, was I really in that setting? You know, to see that, and this man sitting there, Deputy Muhammad, becoming a world leader. And then I watched that film. Some of y'all probably was there in Rome when he spoke. And they called him up there to speak. And I said, I didn't say, look to Deputy Muhammad. I said, Gloria, look at Wallace. He walking up there to talk to the Pope of Rome and was invited by the Pope of Rome. And then hugged this man, or kissed him on the side of his cheek, and made that nice speech. He didn't say God, he said Allah in his speech, right? And I was looking at the Pope, he was listening to him talk, and I said, boy, this must be something, I couldn't dream of this. That something like this would be a man that I grew up with that had never had any immorals about himself, never smoked and drank and none of this, never even took on the language of the world, you know, and that after school would be over, we would, on the weekends, we'd go to dances and stuff, you know, and he'd be dancing in that corner, I'm over in that corner, you know what I mean? Just dancing, just dancing. People get the wrong idea when I say corner. But just being teenagers. And the parties we went to was mostly, you had to have on a suit and a live band. And after it was over with, we'd walk down the street joking about who we met and blah, blah, ways, just being teenagers, that's all. But looking at all those days, brothers and sisters, and look at now, you all. We're here in Carolinas, and you all are honoring us and coming here. You just don't know how we feel. I don't know if I could say enough of how we're feeling. We feel so blessed. I feel so blessed of all of the first Sunday that they made. You know that the Imam had been talking, and way before that, he come to all the different towns around the United States and speak, and Ramadan sessions. We've been through so much. You see all of that, and now he's not with us in the physical anymore. And so he told me one time on a radio broadcast, he said, you know, Darnell, you say you're the only one of my childhood's left. So I said, you know, my brother that was there, and he was still alive then, and a few others. No, he said, you're the only one. because when the transition happened, you stayed with me. You didn't miss a beat. And you always one of my childhood. And he told me, he said, you know, I see you for two reasons. He said, I see you because you're my childhood friend, and the second one, that you're doing something. But the other one, they still want to hang around with Wallace. And Imam said, you don't realize that they are still with the world. But I have chosen this message in the religion, God. I'm here to please God. And then you chose to come here and support me. So he said, in many ways, I could say, because a lot of them get mad, they say, in so many ways, you're more closer to me than some of my immediate family. I never told them that because I still feel like that about them right now. Their family and my family and Gloria's family, we all still feel like family. Now I'm the only one left out of my brothers and sisters. My parents is gone. Gloria's the same. She only got, it's 10 of them. It's only her and her sister left. Her parents is gone. So now, here we are. I take medication. And I done had 3 major operations that most people die from it. But I'm here. I'm still yeah. So you know, I don't have no reason not to feel good about this. And Gloria, I mean, not in the best of health. I think she might be in better health than me. But she's not just like, maybe just run around the corner or whatever, but she still move around like me. And she's nonstop at home, you know, so I know she's in good shape. But we have to stop her from working. You sisters, some of you already can relate to that, you know. But the fact that I can get up and dress and hit the street and then travel and be welcome, man, don't you know that's heaven? It is. And I'm at a hospital, university, that teaching PhDs and theologian on the religion. And I just do have my high school diploma. And it's all Arabic too. Yeah, our first diploma is all Arabic. But when I came there to be hired to be there as an imam of that institution, I didn't have to show any credentials. I was related to W.D. Muhammad. And they heard me talk and explain what Islam was and etc. And they hired me. And it was through the efforts of my son and also a doctor. So now you go there to try to get the same job that I have. That's what you have to have. You have to have a degree in theology in order to get in that position there. So the Arabs had a lot of problems with me. I think I told this story before, and I won't say the details. They had a lot of problems with me being in there with that, because they speak Arabic, and they do this and that and all like that. So when I came to give the knowledge of what Allah has given me through the Imam, I had no problems with them now. Because when I told them that your language you speak is not Islam, that's your language. I said, I speak Arabic too, but I'm not fluent in anything. Like I was telling you yesterday, I know enough like to let them know I know if you're talking about me or not, but I can talk about them too. Do you know we have a power as African Americans? We did it in school. We was learning Arabic. We was able to create another language with Arabic that they didn't even know what we was talking about. And using the Arabic language, they said they must be talking crazy. But we was talking to each other. You know, you say, what's up? What's going on? What's to you, man? So, you know, go back and forth. We knew how to say it in Arabic, so when we said it, they thought we was crazy talking. But we was sending messages to them. You know, we had the power to do that, with the ability to do that, you know. But I want to get to some other specifics about the community itself. Our community, W.D. Farad, and he was saying about, the Imam read off some good information about how things got started or whatever. But I said, I was listening to a lot of it, and he's right. Corrected information he gave, and I hear Farrakhan and they giving their Savior Day, and others giving their Savior Day, and like this here. And I said, no, something wrong. I think they're getting a little off track. I said, W.D. Friday saying anything about that was his birth date. There's nothing recorded in history to show that for us to celebrate his birthday. After I had found out who he was, when he came among us, and I was over at the house with him and Hassan and Imam, but Hassan and Imam was in the other room taking care of some business. So me and he likes to joke a lot, you know. And so I asked him, I said, no, he said, you know, next week they celebrating my birthday, and he started laughing. And I laughed with him too. So I said, I'm talking to somebody I thought was God. And he says, it's supposed to be February 26, 1870. I said, what? I said, yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. You know, they always just be talking. Yeah, they just, and he was just laughing. And the Imam said, that's his technique, that's the way he is. He would always talk, but he's talking direct too. He was making it think like he was making it, which it was a joke, and that not his birthday. February 26, 1877, that's not his birthday. And that's not why he was born. When he's talking about he was born in Mecca, and his mother is half this, his father is half that. That's all, that's for us. That's information for us, so we know we got something special over the white man. So we had a lot of language going, boy, was out of sight. When they told us say that you are gods and on the earth, that's all African Americans needed. Did I tell you that story about at the planetarium? I didn't tell you that one. This is true, and they was going to the school. And I actually believe that. I called the planetarium and told them that they had to change their figures. And I told how much is land, how much is water. And the earth weighs 6 septillion tons. And we're 93 million miles away from the sun. And all the planets travel 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. So I kept on giving these figures on there. The guy he asked me, he said, who's calling? Man, this is some fantastic figures you come up with. I told him, I say, God. This is God talking. Now I'm going to show you where reality come in with this craziness. I don't care how crazy we talk, and I don't care what we say, but reality going to set in somewhere. When he told me they wanted to meet me. You know I didn't show up there, right? No, I didn't show up. But it was fun. It was fun having that language out there, that it just made us feel good about ourselves, didn't it? Now, saying something specific, you know, I was talking about when I saw the advertisement that says the past, present, and future. Okay, when you say the past, there really isn't a past like we say past, because if we say it's the word, one word in Arabic is called mudari'. Oh no, Madi is past tense of the grammarians. Mudari is the present, Amr is the command, and Mustaqbal is the future. Okay. Well, when we learn these terminology, you should know what they mean. Don't just say this the past, present, future, and all like this here. It doesn't mean, it means something, but it don't mean anything. You have to know how to relate it. So, but the present tense is the past. The present tense has a past. So what does that mean to me Islamically, spiritually, when it says the present tense is the past? The present tense, when we're reading from the Quran, when you're reading in a present tense, you're reading in the future too. And the future is called mustaqbal. Mustaqbal is the future. But mustaqbal also, it means something that was before. So if you're traveling in space, you know about astronomy, you're traveling about science. You know, when you travel into space, you lose time. You don't gain time, you lose it. And you can go just so far and you'll be way back in time, and then you come back and find out that it was there before. So we're not gaining anything by going up into space according to space. I think they call whatever the term they use, the space, time. I think it's space and time and speed or something like that, the way that they explain it. The scientists are finding this out themselves, but they just won't say God. But what does that tell me? Present tense, mudara. Mudara, when you look at the word, it means some of the expressions it gives about humbleness and etc. It also means it speaks of the future. And how does it speak of the future? You want to know, say, is there a future for me? Is there anything after this? It's all over it. Your present tense is going to tell you if there's a future. So whatever you're doing right now is going to tell you your future. It's going to tell you tomorrow. There's never tomorrow. Today is tomorrow. So it's never till tomorrow until it comes. But right now, this is tomorrow. And this day is a day that we'll never see it again. When we're talking about life, we'll never see today again. This is it. So we say present tense. Now listen at the word present tense. Present, you're living in the present, but when you wake up, you're receiving a present, a gift from God, isn't it? So your presence determines the future. So whatever you're doing now, that speaks for the future. Does that make sense? You're present, you're in the present, but it's also a present. It's also a gift that's been given to you by God. So we come in and we breathe, and then we let out. We breathe. In Quran, it's called tanafus, of the soul. It's to breathe. It's going in and out. What does that teach us by nature? Zakat. Because when you breathe in, you're receiving something. In order for you to live, you got to let it out. That's why a lot of people don't make any progress in life, because they don't ever give anything. Yeah, I said one time, he said, no, how was it? You take a $20 bill, and you can do a lot with $20. And you can stomp on it, you can throw it in the water, ball it up, do everything you want to with that $20 bill, and then dry it out, it's still $20. And it's still worth $20. So, well, where's the $1 bill? It's at the mosque. That's where you give it in the mosques and the churches. That's a joke that somebody told me about. The Nation of Islam. How did it start, and what brought it about? Because I wanted to understand it even for myself too, about the Nation of Islam. So what the brothers spoke about, the Imam spoke about, is the introduction to the book that I wrote, or I'm writing, and I'm trying to finish it. I have finished it, and some of you know of it too. I've been writing it for the last 5 years. So Allah has blessed me to finish this history, and it's starting from the beginning of the time I told you to all that we've been going through with. The 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, all the way up. And then I have all of the pioneers in there, and I talk about some of the pioneers. I talk about Clara Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad, my personal encounter with them. Because you can go on the internet and get his bio. But what about Elijah Muhammad as the father, as a human being? When he's just at home, he wasn't on the stage or anything. What about that person? I have that personal encounter with him. He was my boss. I used to work for him personally, and I would report to him personally. Gloria is the same way. If they mention about Sister Clara, there's several books out about Sister Clara, but it's a whole lot missing because me and Gloria, we was there. So if I'm going to give the history about our community, how you going to argue with me and you weren't even born? You know when W.D. Frost, Elijah Muhammad used to do something. Did you know about that, brother? And I just let him keep talking. Somebody told me just that. I said, yeah. I said, I was there. Oh, you wasn't there. I said, yeah, I was there. That's as far as I go with that fool. Because now he going to argue with me, and his parents wasn't even born. So if you wasn't there, then I got your attention. You take notes, because you wasn't there. But we can talk about when you came in. From that time up then, we got a whole lot. All of us have a lot to share. Whether if I was before or you came in the middle, it doesn't matter. We basically all have the same background. The only difference is that we were just there just a little bit before that. But more than anything, people, they come in and they want to know about what really started it. So I'm going to give you some information that I found on my own, and then I learned even from Imam Muhammad. Now, when I mention this, I'm saying it from what I was there when a lot of things was happening, and I know. And some things I didn't know. So if I tell you that the Imam said this or the Imam said that, I'm not going to tell you that he said this here, but I'm not going to tell you that he meant this. I can't do that. Because if he said something, that's what he said. But you cannot interpret him and say, even though he said this, but this is what he means. That's not fair. We can't do what he said, that's what he meant. But you can say, this is the way I understand it. You can say that, that's what I do. But I can't say, this is what he meant. When he used to use Arabic, for example, we'd be in the class, and the Imam was real good with giving meanings of words. So I give you two simple sentences. I would say, Huwa fi bait. Huwa fi baitihi. He is in his home. He is in his home. Okay, that's not too bad of a translation, right, Imam Omar? Yeah, that's right. No, I ain't joking with him. He does know too now. He knows a lot. And but anyway, Wallace, what's the translation? You didn't give that translation. He says, he's just really saying he's at home. That's all. We're trying to come up with different meaning of every little word. And he said it just simply means he's at home. Allah says in the Quran, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Ta'qilun is from the word aql, means the brain. Surely we have revealed this, that the Quran revealed it in Quranic Arabic in order that you may be wise. That's right. That's good too. So we sitting in the class like this here, and Imam say, you know what that means? He said, that means saying that he says, we have created this Quran in Quranic Arabic, not Arabic language, in Quranic Arabic, in order that you may use your brain, in order that you may practice good sense using your brain. So when he said that, I say, it's like with a lot of things he said, that makes a lot of sense. So that's the way he was with his language that Allah has blessed him with. Now, when it comes down to the Savior's Day, they say Savior's Day, and some people say save the day. They got different interpretations of it. So when we was at a college once, and someone asked him a simple question, what is Savior's Day? What do you mean by that? He said, well, W.D. Farad, the founder, purposely picked July 4th July and also in February. And he gave a little history about the Black History Month and how a lot of that started. I think it was with Frederick Douglass, if I'm not mistaken. Carter G. Woodson. All right, Carter G. Woodson. I know it was one of those black leaders that started in February. Yeah, Carter G. Yes, that's right. I just reading. That's when it started in that month. But he says, your Savior is really yourself. Your Savior is education. And that's what's missing in the African-American people today. That's what's missing with a lot of imams, that he was really concerned about the imams being educated. That's why he had first Sunday, and he had me there giving some classes. Not that I know more than the imams, but it had to start with somebody because he knew me. And he said that Imam Karim was the one. He said he have dedicated his whole life to this religion, and he can help you imams. Now, some of y'all were there, and you wasn't there, but he said it because he said it on the first Sunday. But I wasn't thinking and feeling, even like to right now, I just want to be part of the imams. I don't want to come here and try to teach you anything. I just want to be part of, let you know that before you came around, Allah blessed me with something, I want to share it with you. And before Allah take me, I want to leave it with you so you can take and leave it with your children, because all this knowledge that I have gained, and Glory have gained, and what we're doing, is going to be left behind. We don't own it. We have it just for a while, and then we're going to leave. We're going to move on. So I don't own it. I feel blessed. 4th of July, 1930, and you notice that July is the 7th month. The 7th month. And the 7 in our religion is very significant. God says that in our holy book, it says that we graduate in 7 levels in the man. Because the greatest thing that God has given to us is our brain. So the brain has to develop and grow. So Farad knew that the white man had our brain. He knew he had us through the language. So Farad, he created what we call an esoteric terminology, mystic language, that only we understood it. That's how he was able to keep us, especially with the one we talking about with gods. So the 4th of July, which represented the 4 corners of the earth, but not corners like corners, but it represents the universality of our man's, the way he was trying to lead us to not think in terms of local, but to think universal. So that's what the 4th was. And the 7th is representing the level of our minds, of growth and development in our conscious for a particular reason. And that was the symbolic to the soul to have what? Elevation, to start growing. Because he knew that they had our minds with their terminology. So the soul has that power, and Allah speaks of that in the Quran in terms of the soul entering into the body. So the soul is created for what reason? To ascend up to 7 levels. So when we 7, we talk about the Quran, the Al-Fatiha is 7 verses. So we can go with 777 is so significant because we have the 7 prophets, right? There's the prophets, the level of development at the lower level with us, and the other ones are with the prophet. And we know the ascension that's connected with the ascension of Muhammad, the last prophet, when he had went through each one of those levels, and he led them all in prayer because he became the leader of revelation, in the final revelation, and the other prophets became levels of development of the human being. So Prophet Muhammad became the bigger one, the highest one, because that's where God grows. God grows human beings to the level of revelation. So when we talk about the prophets, we're not talking about really all men like. We're talking about those characters that exist in every one of us. And they have to grow You see? All right, Farad was aware of this. He might not know it to that extent, but Farad was working on our souls and our minds to come to that level so we can find ourselves. All right? So now, he came on the fourth day to work on what? The influences of the people of us so that they will be what? That they will move into their nature to ascend where they will have the freedom to be free. That's your Savior. Ascend into your mind so that we can be free and we can think for ourselves. And thank Allah we have arrived at that level. Yes. Also, Allah tells us in the Quran, it says, Ku anfusakum wa ahlikum. Save yourselves and your family. Save yourselves and your family. Then it says, Alaykum anfusakum. On you, you have an obligation to attend to the needs of your soul. Boy, you keep hearing this language, the soul, the 4th of July, Savior. What is it really saying? I was listening to a mystic the other day. I listen to him a lot. I'm not going to say his name because people be going to find out who he is. Because, you know, we'll grab somebody in a minute and find out. He said that? Who was that said that? But this guy, he's good. But it's to a certain point, I think he has some problems upstairs, too. So I just take notes where I know I can cut it off. But when he's talking, you're going to hear the language of the Imam there. What he is really concerned about, this mystic, he's concerned about people leaving this whole life, they never found themselves. They spend so much time going around the world in the space, everything, but they spend no time on their own selves, on their own space is what they were saying, the internal part of the human being. So when we tell and we say, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, we're asking God not only to guide us, but to, oh Allah, ascend me to the heavens. Help me with this up here so I can come into my own. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What is it all about? We're talking about Savior's Day. We're talking about what Allah has done to us as African-American people through W.D. Farad, through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to Imam W.D. Muhammad. And you know, a lot of it was done through language. And Shaitan knows this. And Shaitan, what he does, since he can't get people out in the world, he found his home in the mosques and the churches and the synagogues. That's where you will find Satan at. Because he would come in there and he would change the language on you in a minute. And you won't even know that you are talking the language of Satan. So be very careful, brothers and sisters, as we learn the language, that you know what you're saying and why you're saying it. Don't just get caught up into it because everybody else is saying this, then you say it too. So I don't, when somebody's saying a lot, I think about what they're saying, and then I don't say it. So you ain't gonna get me into that. How will we remember? How are we gonna be remembered? Now this is a word, I ain't never heard this word before, but it made a lot of sense. It's called epistemology. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
I didn't. I never heard of it before, but the man was saying that. And I'll share it with you too. I won't go into the knowledge of it. It said that's how we're going to be remembered. Of people who went through that. Epistemology. And I'll explain it a little bit. God says, when he says to save yourselves, okay, Elijah first have to be, he called the community Tifl. And Tifl is baby. So the original name of the Nation of Islam was called Tifl, a baby nation. Then it transferred into Nation of Islam, all right? So now it goes on to say that he no, pardon me. See, I want to make sure I got the information here correctly. Yes. All right. Now, Farad came to free us. Farad came to solve the identity problem. Your own self is a righteous Muslim. You see, you follow the language, everything is directed toward ourselves. So now if we get into celebrating a holiday because of somebody's birth, that ain't saying too much. What about my birth? What about your birth? What about that? Do you know our Eid is a Savior's Day too? When we celebrate the Eid is a celebration of your own self, isn't it? You're returning back to the nature that God created you in. It's when we celebrate our Eid. All right? When we do the tawaf around the Kaaba, it's called tawaf. And we say that someone died. We don't say that. Islamically, you don't even say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We say that a lot. It's okay to say it, but that's not what it really is. It's tawaf. They say tawaffa ala Allah. What are we talking about? When you go around the Kaaba 7 times now, you go around there with obedience to God because you're responding to obedience to God 7 times. All right? And you're saying, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. You say that, but when you get there, you don't say it no more. Then you start praying, showing obedience. So when a person passes away or leaves from this life, he doesn't die. It's the obedience continues. And know what happens? Allah promised us, if your obedience remains, it will continue in the next life. So when someone passes away, he left from this life, but he's rewarded for his obedience to God. So he continues to keep growing. You see, if we understand what life is about, we know that when Allah says that he has created death and life in order that you see who's best indeed. This is what God says. So you see, death comes first, then life. So we're all caught up in a circle that we have no control over at all. But what do we do in between that is the whole key to whatever there's going to be after that. So this mystic was saying something that made a lot of sense to me, what the Imam said. I'm talking about Savior's Day also. And that it says that people, they get all upset because your loved one passed away. And that, which we all do. I've left all my siblings and parents ago, of course we're upset, and I still think about them a lot. And he says that, and it makes sense. You've been focused on this physical person so much. You've been looking at them so much, that's all you see. And sometimes even when you're living in your life, you don't even think about, sometimes you have to tell a person, can't you see me? Don't you understand what I'm trying to tell you? No, they looking at you, the physical part of you. You said, no, you this, you that. They may say whatever they want to say. They have attached so much to that physical, so when you don't see it no more, you think that's the end of the person. And you forget all about the inner part of the person. That's what Allah says, if that's saved, and if that's taken care of, He says when the physical is no more, that part that you've been working on for so long, God promised that it will continue. You know, you tell a guy, say like you take a balloon, and you put a balloon and fill it with air, and then you bust the balloon. The balloon is going to fall back down to the earth. But what about the air that was in the balloon? Where is it at? It didn't go nowhere. Or you can take a bubble from, like making soap, and you make a soap bubble, and it's full of air. You think that air in there is going to be destroyed? No. When it busts, that soap is going to fall on the ground, but what's in that air is going to continue until it finds a body, until it finds somewhere to settle. And that's the way our souls operates the same way. I can say it more scientific, but I'm not a scientist. So, but I love science. So when I hear it, it makes a lot of sense to me. So when I connect it back to the way the Imam has been teaching us, I say, you know, the Imam has been right all the time. He said in one of his classes, and just a lot of you all were there, he says, when the lights is out, you go with what you got. He said, that's it, you go with what you got. I said, man, what is this about now? But he looked so comfortable as he was saying that. On his last day on this earth, 2 days before he passed, I was looking at him on the first Sunday. He looked so peaceful, and he was talking about himself. He said, a lot of people think that you're waiting for me to die. He said, only Allah knows that. This is the last first Sunday. And he said, I'm going to leave it open to you all for questions. But only question what I talked about today. And they got up there and said, hey, ma'am, I'd like to see you because so-and-so. And another one got up there, and I saw on his face like he said, oh, boy, like, they still ain't got it. Okay, after they got through, Allah is my witness. If you got the last tape of the Imam, this is almost his exact words. He said, he came back to the mic, and he said, did the son of Elijah Muhammad deliver the message? And they said, yes, Allahu Akbar, yes, yes. Peace. That's it was his last words to us. Isn't that something? Yeah. What was the last words that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us? His last word was this. He said much more, but he said, I just want you all to be good Muslims and live by the principles of this religion. That was the last word of Elijah Muhammad. I go back to the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad said, Allahumma, O Allah. It says, Isma'u qawli. Listen to my words. O Allah, I have delivered the message. Now I can be a little off with a little bit, right? But that's what he said, the Prophet said. Balaghtu, balagha means like striving toward to reach to a goal. And it says balagha, it means just that you're reaching a goal and that's it. And that's the word that the Prophet used. Balaghtu, I have delivered the message. That's the end of it. So you saying, brother, are you connecting that with the Prophet and with the, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm connecting it because it's making me know that I think I'm following the right man. And if you look at all his speeches, transcripts, tapes, everything, you see the Imam always uplifted the Prophet all the time. And that's why I follow him, because he uplifted the Prophet Muhammad, who was the example for us all. Allah tells us, dear brothers and sisters, it says the two words called qad khalat. Qad khalat. It means this was the time when people, back in the olden days, they had the chance to follow God and they missed it. And it's going to be the same with us too. Some people, it's not going to be a lot, but it's going to just be a few that got the message. And Allah will save you. The next is, Allah says, وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. I'll just say the English part of it. And to Allah to say to every people, Allah sends a guide. And to every community, ummah, He sends a messenger. And to every community, He sends a book. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلْ مُسَمَّى, from the word ism. And to every community, Allah has a set time for everything. It's the same with us. It's a set time for us to come, the time for us to leave. You got people living right till this day, right now. They just say, yeah, when you die, man, I'm going to do so and so and so. They act like you're going to die before them, and they're going to be here to help Allah. You know, you got people thinking stupid like that. And you wind up doing that janazah. Allah says here, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةٌ وَسَطًا شُهَدَاءَ لِلنَّاسِ. What I'm saying, it's a lot more than what I'm saying. I don't want to use like this Arabic class, but I'm just using this to show you the language and understanding the Imam has given us, that I wasn't thinking like this, even though I was in class with him. Then I found out that I wasn't gifted like the Imam. I joined this class. It was just a little more easy for me because I could read Arabic. So it is with Gloria. But Allah is saying here is that He will make a community of that'll be a balanced community that will be a witness for the world. So the Imam was talked about that, and he was saying in this here, where he's saying Ummatun Wasata, it was saying that he believes that Allah is having us as an example for the world of a people who had lost it all. And He took nothing and made it out of something, and they became the leaders in the world. And I believe that's what Allah is doing with us right now, that we're coming from nothing, and look what is happening when you hear these Imams talking now. You hear sisters talking that's educated. You can't believe your ears when you hear them talk. Satan knows this here. So all these sisters in here, you got some of you right now that with PhDs, they're scholars. Dr. Deborah, for an example, that one of our good honorable sisters here, and there's many more of her. There's many more. How come she's not on CNN? How come she's not on ABC when it comes to things that need to be done? Why don't they call? They know she exists. They purpose don't do it. Then they bring some rookie on there, a sister from Palestine, and make her as white as possible, and put her on the hijab and on everything like this here, and then make her, she's an example. And they don't know that hijab ain't got nothing to do with your dress. Did you know that? Hijab is not Islamic dress. Islamic dress is libas. It's called libas taqwa. The best dress is your taqwa, your remembrance of God. And your best dress is decency. That's what Allah says. Hijab is in reference to, and it's in the Quran, it's in reference to revelation. Hijab is. And what is this here revelation with hijab? When Allah is to send a message to His creation, prophets or whatever, that He began to send them a message, He creates a hijab, a veil, so that to make sure that message, like it comes from Him to you and to us, make sure there's no interference. So that veil that He creates is called hijab. But they got us thinking, boy, hijab is, you got to put your hijab on. And I see my Glory was telling me about some of the sisters that come to Jummah over at Rush. They come in there with tight pants on and everything else come on. They come in there and the hijab is in their purse. And they put that whole thing to cover their whole body. Now they're holy. And as soon as prayer's over, she take all that off there and throw her hair back out of everything and going out there in the world. Allah has blessed our leader, brothers and sisters. Truly, He has blessed our leader. And I want to say this here, because think about it very closely. When what the Imam has given us is going to put you on top of the world, if you want to say that. You have to know that man was sent by God to us. He gave the Imam a language nobody else had. It's called lisan qaum, the language of the people. What did He do with the language? It's called lisan qaum. What He did with that, lisan is tongue, qaum is people. What He did, He took the common language of the people and He connected it with the revelation of the Quran and with Quranic terminology. And He was able to do that to a point that now I understand it, just like the guy that just graduated from Azhar University. The Imam was able to take the language of the Quran and do that with it. And one of it is called Qawaid Arabiya. Qawaid is foundation, Arabiya is Arabic. What do I mean by that? It means that the logic that's in the Quran is not the same logic that you use in an ordinary book. So when I read a book, that's me saying this. It's going to be corrected by an English person that knows English. Like Glory's one of my best editors. She knows how to write, edit real good. and she'll say, no, you don't mean that. She said, do it like this here. You know, because I write it, it looks like Chinese when I be first write it. So a lot of stuff you see me present, she's the one that did it. But anyway, in saying that, the logic that's in the Quran is governed and controlled by God. Qawa'id Arabiya. So as you're reading the Quran, he's reading the Quran, I'm reading the Quran, Allah is working with our souls. So it depends on your soul when you open that book. And it's called harakat. Harakat. The flow of the vowels that you're reading is the flow of your soul. So if you're having problems with your soul, you're going to miss it. You miss the whole message because your soul ain't right. Or you went into it the wrong way. You have to go into it right. So it's the same thing, the movement that goes on in our mind too. If we seeking the guidance of God, the movement that's in our brains, Allah will bless us with more and more and more. Because we want it to be right. I want to understand, I want to please God. That movement in there will start working with you. And I'm only speaking that from the Quran when I say that. You go down, he said that we will go down in history. Now, these are his words saying this. He said that, and I can understand why he's saying it now. We will go down in history as an evolved into, we will be involved into epistemology. And boy, that word just got to me. I love that word. I say that. I go around the guys up there in the college and say, that's all I know, that one word. You ever heard of epistemology? No, I know a little more than that. But, you know, I know one thing they do. The educators, what they would do with us, they will come in and start using terminology on you. So they understand it among themselves. And they do that with me a lot, you know, and they just laugh. And then I laugh a little bit, but they keep laughing. The first laugh is the joke. The next one is on me. Now they're laughing at me. But thank Allah, they can't talk over my head because I have a language that Allah blessed me with. I talk over them. They be asking me about it. So it said, we will go down in history certainly as a people who evolved into a new cultural, social creation, evolved to advance psychosocial and cultural leadership. That's what we're going to evolve into, brothers and sisters. You will develop it, and you will develop it naturally because it's in you, and the Imam is able to bring it out. And you have trust and faith, and when he gives us this meaning of these words, trust it. And you'll have yourself on another level, you don't even realize it. So don't question it so much to say, Imam said al-Islam, but it's Islam. Well, you have to understand why he said al-Islam and Islam. Don't just say that Muslim is just a peaceful person, yes, but it's much more than that. I won't go into all that, but saying, so this is, I'm saying this here is that it will be, God has established a pattern, speaking of us, of human development and growth. And in that pattern, he has established leadership. And if you don't accept it, you'll lose it. So those who fight against it and say, oh, I know that's the Imam, that's his terminology, that's what he uses, you're going to be lost. And you're not going to be accepted among the masses. You have expressed it yourself too, and probably lived it. Where people, you come among them, they know the Imam, they know his language, and they've accepted this here. So when they talk to me and you, they listen at you. And don't think they don't know, they know. And if they hear you long enough, they'll say, oh my God, you know, you're a friend of mine. How you doing, ma'am? How you doing, sir? That's what a Jewish man told me at Rush University Medical Center when he heard the Imam talking. He did Jummah at Rush. And I didn't have no diplomas on my wall. It's just me, and he had all this stuff all over the wall. And I had the Quran, and it was just me. And so when we came back to work the next day, he said, I heard your leader speak. He said, is this your leader? Is this who you follow? I said, yeah, that's the one. That's the one my teacher, my imam. He said, then you accepted among us. So whatever the us is, I know he was a high up rabbi, but that was okay too. But we have something in common because I knew how to talk to him scripturally too. I didn't know a lot, but I knew enough that he knew I wasn't no fool. But brothers and sisters, I have a lot here that I just can sum up a lot of it. I really want to leave it, Imam, for some questions. I think you said that. Yeah, we're going to. We can have it right here. Yeah, we can have it right here, and that is because it's a lot like here. I'm not going to go through it. You see, I have 3 of these books. And if you open it up, you will see like here, you'll see nothing but words in here. All the Imam. And this is what I teach from. To the Arabs, I teach them from this here. And when I talk to them, they don't know none of this. And I'm not calling them dummies because you got a lot of them that are smart, they speak Arabic, and they're educated people and all of that. I can use this one sheet right here. I can use this one sheet. Where's the one that? When he was talking about leadership. No, it was about how to run a masjid and et cetera. And I just used this one sheet. I ain't through with it yet. This one sheet, I could stay on it all day with him. And I had no, rejection from them. And Allah is my witness. I use this here, and I'm still in half of the page when I was talking about how to run a masjid. All these 2 sheets here, that's all. Not a whole lot of volume of books. Only the language of the Imam I use. And I use one terminology just to give you an example, and then we can go to the next level, Imam. Mir-a-dhahir. Ever heard the word mir-a-dhahir? When you're making a decision about something, we know we use the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet, we use the consensus of the people, and we use qiyas, they call it the comparison of others that have been successful, and ijtihad, your own way of doing something, but you want to make sure you have checked the sort of authorities of doing it to make sure that you're correct. So some things we have to face it on our own. Nobody's there at all, and you got to make a decision. So how do you do it? Anyway, this particular one is just said mir-a-dhahir. Mir-a-dhahir is another way that we use to make its decisions as a community, and the other one is hasis or ihsas. Hasis or ihsas. Now, does this have something to do with Savior's Day and what we're about here all around it? Yes, it does. It has a lot to do with it, because if we're not making any sense, we're gonna have some fun today. That's all. It is just a waste of time. We're gonna have some fun because I do like seeing all of you all, and I already told you that. And it'd be nice that you buy me some of my tapes. This is business. I have tapes on sale for $10, $15. History stuff. I'm telling you, it's all history. But today, anything that you buy is only $5.
Good Lord.
Just today, I'm gonna tell you, David, I learned something about business. Now, I didn't hardly sell anything yesterday. It's not a joke, but it's the truth. This is how you do business. Tony, I think it was Tony Brown was talking about his tapes when he first started talking, he was doing his aspirational talks. And he says that after he got through talking, he didn't hardly sell 2 or 3 tapes or something like that. He wasn't selling much. So he said, I got to change this here, man. He said, he started going down on the price and cutting things in half. And he started selling out. And he said he found this much. 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And some of it that's there too. If you don't have it, you can have it. That's the truth. I ain't joking with. If you don't have it, That's a test on you. If you don't have it, oh, I'll pay you later, Imam. No, you don't have to pay me later. If you want to, I'll accept it, of course. But if you don't, he'll take it. Why am I saying and talking like that? Man, you crazy. You done did all this work and you done said this and did that. Like, no, man, you ain't gonna make no money. Yes, I will. Because it comes and goes. I can give you away $500 worth of something, and maybe next month Allah give me $10,000. You don't know? Yes. So it's still business. It's a reality. Say, man, don't never tell that. He said Negroes. I don't say Negroes. I ain't gonna say no Negroes. I won't say that. But mir'a zahir means this. It means that you're gonna make a decision, and you want to make sure that what you're saying is correct. Don't just say, "Oh, I don't like this brother. I don't like that sister," or whatever. That's the wrong way to make a decision. No, it's 3 words. If we call the word ahl, right? Ahl, ahwa. Ahwa means your personal inclination. Don't use your personal inclination about making a decision on whatever it is. And hasis is in the core. It's past the heart. It's inside of you. It can't be explained, but it's a feeling that's just there. And you're going to make a decision, and you got that, and then you're going to make a decision, and you feel and say, no, I'm not, because I can't stand this person. Or because so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Now you're working on the core of yourself, you're going to hurt yourself. And then mir'a, zahir, there's 2 words. Mir'a is a mirror. Zahir from the word zuhur means like the zuhur prayer. When you make a decision, this is in the Quran, then Allah tells us, make sure that what you're getting ready to decide on is crystal clear. It's no doubt. It's no doubt at all. Because if you don't, then Satan will come in it, and he will create what we call dhan. Dhan. Dhan is a dha and an n. Dhan is what is dhan? Dhan means doubt. Only thing somebody has to do in this room right now is just say 1 or 2 words and create doubt in the whole room. They can't prove nothing. You know, they just throw it out there, that's all. And then you'll walk away in your mind and say, yeah, I don't think it might not be true, but I don't know, something to think about. There's Shaitan coming in there, says, when good news comes to you, when the evil person comes to you with bad news, examine it carefully. That's what Allah says. Now, you're a good person, and you coming in and giving your friend bad news. It's called fisk. Fisk. You're a good person. You gave that person bad news. How you become fisk is that you told your partner something bad, but you never defended it. This is what I hear. I don't know. Somebody told me something. No, you know somebody. Somebody talked to you. You know somebody. So if brother or sister so-and-so said this, tell them who it is. And we're going to get this straight by sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so. Now it's all clear. But I don't know. This is what I'm hearing now. This is your best friend you didn't grow up with. Suspect. My best friend become a suspect. So give me a name. But is that important? Yes. Because we live about that. We don't make crystal clear things. We just feel it in our heart, and we're making bad decisions. And then we make a decision, it's an instant decision. Allah is addressing all this in the Quran like that. And the worst gossip and the worst one is on the internet. That's the worst one, the Facebook and internet. Man, they got some stuff on there, on not the Imam alone, but me too. It's so much of a lie, it's almost funny. It's all, I ain't gonna say what it is. It's a total lie. But I've just been wondering how many people believe this, and they be knowing it and say, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Karim. How you doing? And be knowing everything. And don't say nothing to me. You the one I gotta watch. You're the one. You're a good person. You do your prayers and you fast the month of Ramadan. You're a good person. But you got all this stuff built up in you and you ain't telling me nothing? Imam said that in class once. He says, somebody tell me something, I'm going to tell you all. So if you don't want nobody to know, don't tell me. Because I don't believe in holding back anything. Brothers and sisters, you know, there's a lot. I pray a lot that we can cover a lot more today, because I do have some more things, and I have something to present too that I think would be valuable for you all. And I talked to the Imam about it already too, because we're living in serious times now. And I've talked to the Imam about this, what I was going to tell you a little later, because what happens is that people have a chance to do something, they don't. It has to go somewhere else to say the earth is spacious. Chicago had an opportunity for a lot of things, and boy, it's like, you ever seen an old movie where everybody found out there's some gold? call it the gold rush. Boy, they in a race, there's so many don't know which way to go. And they're all good people too. They're not just no terrible people, and I love them a lot in Chicago, but we need doctoral khutbahs. and a doctor that do khutbahs that you write prescriptions. So anybody you know that will give a khutbah in Chicago, we make sure they know how to write prescriptions. Good people, I love them, I grew up with them, and they're nice, but we got to save them innocent ones among them that's working to try to divide us up a little bit, you know. My wife, I don't know, she's my right hand, you know, and she does everything that I do. She coaches me to make sure it's okay, you know. And she had a lot of things that she would like to say, but she can't say it because, you know, she's not a person walk on stage, but you put her in a corner, she might come out and tell you a lot of stuff. But Imam, if it's, let me know with the timing and everything. If she want to make a statement or something, you.
Got the brewers in. I'm going to ask you, because we're in this setting, let's wait and combine the blue and Asa. Is that okay with you, man?
Yeah, we can do an Asa together.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Blue and Asa. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, I just want to know, because you know, you got strong people. You say, no, I'm going to do
Yeah, because we got some more to say.
In the last Ramadan session, that's what Imam said. He said, we gather like this. He said we should combine the prayers like we travel.
Yeah.
That's exactly. He said in the Ramadan session.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I don't want nobody to get spooked out and think that we didn't miss the time of the prayer. Is that at that particular time? No, brother, you Sakfullah. Allah says in the Quran. No, not the Quran. They never tell about the Quran. They said hadith. The hadith says so, and you go straight to hell. Everything you going to hell. Or you going to be burned up in the fire. Man, I'm getting scared of some of them guys the way they be telling about these hadiths, man. It's all about going to hell and burned up in the fire. Brother, your pants leg, it should be 2 inches from the ankle. And if it's 1 inch, you're going to fire. Allah has promised you, brother, 72 blessings. This is true, what brother told me. told us in Detroit. 72 blessings all of you brothers will be blessed with. 72. Wallahi al-azim. I say, what is that, brother? You will be blessed with 72 wives. Subhanallah. And my wife was so upset. I said, honey, please don't be upset. You will be the queen over all of them. He telling us that, man, his wife got him in court for child support. He talking about 72 wives. Take care of one. You know, when the prophet, when he left in his last speech, did he say he'd leave us with the hadith? No. He didn't say, I'll leave you with the hadith. He said, I'll leave you with the Quran and my sunnah. That's what he said. Now, where does the hadith come in? It's in the Quran because he was the hadith. He is the hadith. The Quran is the hadith. And it said, would you accept a hadith truer than this hadith? Asdiqa is called. Asdiqa, min al hadith. Truer than this hadith, speaking of the Quran. So the Imam said, he said this, he said, the hadith can be tampered with. Because you can say he said this, and by the time it gets to the next person, it's something else. They call it esnad. Whatever the esnad is, the chain, that's right, the chain, the esnad is the chain. And if the chain, it can change. But if you have the Quran and the Sunnah in your soul, it's going to be hard to change that. You can't influence that. Look at today, when you look on the television or you've been to Hajj or with us and we're all praying, everybody is saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Now, if somebody miss a little mark in there, somebody in the Quran goes, SubhanAllah. That's Allah protecting the Quran. Yeah, so that's going to be forever. And when you see, I watch YouTube with people praying over in the East, and some of it sounds so good. And you see like 3,000 people, and their bodies are going like to see a man. It kind of moves you a little bit when you see that. And the man is up there reciting the Quran. There's about all them guys on the front row know the Quran by heart. And then you got maybe one or two in there with the Quran in his hand with the book. As he reciting, he going along with it, making sure just like that there. So the Quran is always being protected at all times. Do you know Allah is doing that with the Imam's language too? I can get here and tell you some things, and I say, the Imam so-and-so, and he said this, and he said that, and said it, and then after a while you say, I don't know. That don't sound right. Somebody, you might not, but it's somebody, it's not going to hit you right. You could say, I don't know. He said, Allah has put that in all of us. If something is approaching you and you're not really, he said that, and you're not comfortable with it, it didn't come from me. Simple as that. Now, I'm not comparing it with hadith, but it's still an example for us because he was very sensitive about hadith. So it's with you, even in our language. If you know me real well, if I know you real well, or I know my wife, and they say, Sister Gloria said this and said that, or whatever, I said, no, she didn't say that. Oh, yeah, no, because you can't tell me Sister Gloria so-and-so. I said, no, because I know her. Shouldn't we do that with each other? So if you approaching me or I approach you and I say something and it's just not really right, don't accept it. Something wrong with it. You can believe that. A lot of these guys around there trying to, like one sister brother came up to a sister. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Oh man, woo, you so fine. God, oh, you look good. And she said, you got any money? Oh, you didn't have to do that to me. You shouldn't have said that. That's all she said to her. You got any money? So Allah protects the believers. I don't care what people say. They cannot come in here and take us away from Elijah Muhammad for what he was all about. And they can't take us away from the Imam. Whichever way they want to interpret it. We got some diehards right here in other cities around the country that Allah is going to protect. What he was doing with us through W.D. Farad, it ain't going nowhere. And what's going to happen is going to transfer into our children. And I see some of it right now, even with my own children. I can see signs of it, and I never tell them to come to Jummah with me. Or you should join us in prayer. I never tell them none of that. Me and Gloria just do it. You know, they see us going to Jummah all the time, Eid celebration, whatever. We just go. And so now I see signs of it. For example, we have, and I'll tell you all about it later, the W.D. Muhammad Community Center project that the Imam left for his legacy. The monies that we got from that, we bought a beautiful office building. It's in 3 levels, it's in 3 sections to it. And we get hardly no support from the community, but it's still the communities. All of those who gave money toward it, we're making placards with your name on it. And you come in there, that whole wall is going to be all the donors to thank them for their donation. If you gave $10 or if you gave $10,000, your name is going on that wall. That's what we're doing right now. And we're working out of pocket with this office. It represents the donation of our generous donors. And that we don't know what we're going to do. Glory's the secretary, you know, that was chosen by the Imam. God gave my son the spirit and say, Daddy, I ain't letting this go down. So he's coming forward and he's making sure that everything stay on, and he's repairing a lot of things out of his own pocket. See? So Allah, what I'm saying, Allah protects you. If you mean right, Allah will pitch in. Will come in and he will help you. I'm going to talk some more about that because you all should know, and I already talked to Imam about it. I want to give you all some information here, you know, because we got to move ahead, and we got to quit letting that doubt, we got to quit living with that, you know, and don't accept because you hear some, don't go around accepting it's the truth and you ain't even ask no question, nothing. Or you see the source and you don't say nothing. I know everything. I know all about you. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You know who that is? That's Satan's student called Iblis. Oh, a person wanted to name it. He said, you know what, man? That name sound good. Iblis. So Iblisia. Iblisia or something. That's how crazy we are. You know, so we can do that, Imam. We can do the Dhuhr Nasr. We can do that prayer to take the break.
We'll do that.
And then I want to give some more information on the nation.
Doing the prayer now.
Oh, okay.
We can wait and combine the Dhuhr and Asr. We can do what we need to do now.
Oh,
You know, we can.
oh, you want to do that, and then we do the Dhuhr Nasr.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll continue with.
We'll continue with what we're doing.
Got it. I got you. Okay. Well, I hope. Let's see. I don't think I have any more jokes. You gotta say, because then people go to sleep on you. You
We
know.
got some young people here. We're gonna have
Yes.
let the audience ask questions or whatnot.
Yeah, that's what we want to do is ask them some questions because they will go to sleep on you, brother.
Yeah. This is Sophia Baldwin. That's my granddaughter. She's
Alaikum.
gonna be the facilitator. You know, taking the microphone.
Oh, okay, great. If you want to take the mic, I want to say something. It's just about business and African Americans. You know, it was a African American was going to have some teeth pulled. He laughed already. I ain't even told her. I think he might have heard this before. It's just like a war story. You know, war story means said so many times. He went to have some teeth pulled, and so the doctor was going to put him to sleep, and so he can pull his teeth. So he gave him, they usually gave him some ether, and he didn't go to sleep. And then it said, So they gave him gas. I don't know if he had to give you gas. He still didn't go to sleep. So we said, okay, we're going to try one more thing. We gave him a lethal injection. No, he tried the ether, gas, and lethal injection. He didn't go to sleep. He said, oh my God. He said, let me go and tell my other partner on the other booth there. He said, man, I got a problem in here. He said, I gave this guy trying to pull his teeth. I gave him this. He ain't went to sleep yet. He said, what? He said, oh, man, shoot, is he black? He said, yeah. He said, man, just go in there and talk business to him. That ain't none of me saying that. That's one of my father's old jokes. I don't know if anybody's nodded on me yet or not. But I pray to Allah saying something positive too. Yes, ma'am.
We do want to hear from your wonderful wife. So maybe you can get a rep. She can share.
No, I ran my mouth so hard. I know it. I'm just kidding. Well, she wants to give the greetings or whatever. It's not, I told her, it ain't no speech or anything. Just say that she just here to support her.
That's you and her, you know. You all.
I got you. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ashhadu in la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu inna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters, if you don't mind, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Imam Khalil and his wife, Sister Darlene, and all of his staff and all of the people that were involved in helping to make this day possible for us to be here today. We are so grateful, and Allah loves those who are grateful. My life experience in the community has been a real journey, one that I will never forget. I have to give recognition to my parents, two special icons, Viola and Shelby Karim. I love them dearly. I remember them in my heart because of their so many sacrifices that I personally know that they did. And because of their hard works and sacrifices has made me the person that I am today. I have always been, a little afraid of disappointing God. And I was so grateful to them that I didn't want to disappoint my parents, to disappoint them. So I wanted to do things that other teenagers were doing, but at the same time, I was always a little afraid that my sisters used to say I'm too weak. They used to laugh at me. Oh, no, Gloria, she ain't gonna do that. But that was just me, and I'm thankful for this community because it has done a lot. I had the opportunity to work and at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home. So I had experience with him, Sister Clara Muhammad, his mother Marie, his sister, and of course Imam Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's father. I had sat down and talked with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's mother, and we had long conversations. So it's so much so much rich history to recall and to share that I could not do it all at this time. At a later date, when time permits, perhaps I can present to you share with you the presentation that I did at Bethune College at a later date when time permits. I thank everybody here, and also I can share that being a student at the University of Islam, whereas my husband and I, along with Imam Muhammad, Dr. Akbar Muhammad, my sister-in-law Zahira, all of us were in the same class. Our teacher, Professor Jamil Diab, would test all of us on our weaknesses and our strength. So my husband, which I never told, he used to, one of his things that he used to do, I would say, in class would be to recite Quran. And he didn't know, but that Quran recitation was getting to me. And my favorite surah was Ad-Duha. And whatever he did at Duha, I said, that's it for me. That's my man. In my conclusion, I just like to say that through my long experiences and with the support of my parents, my family, of course, Allah blessed me. I'm thankful for my health. I always say when I get up in the morning, I always give thanks to Allah for another day. I say, Alhamdulillah, alladhi yuhyi wa yamit wa ala kulli shayin qadir. And that helps me to start my day. But through this experience, I thank Allah for blessing me with a fantastic husband. I don't tell him this all the time. But he is my supporter as well, and he's my best friend. And I have earned 6 great children that I can be so proud of. I am so proud of them, and I think they're kind of proud of us, and they try to follow in our footsteps. So that's a blessing, and I thank Allah for that. And may Allah continue to bless this community. And I thank the Imam again. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. If we have young adults here, would you please stand? I saw Carl, Sophia, anyone else? Come on, you say young adults, stand up. Aisha, who else? Come start, bro. No, you young. Okay, I wanted them to see. And we was talking about the future.
That's right.
We wanted you all to meet some of our young people. Okay, so.
All right.
Sophia. Yeah, he's one of our imam. Imam Ibn Mutakabir. That's her husband.
Oh, okay.
This one is my granddaughter. That's my grandson. That's my grandson.
Where's your grandson? Which one?
The tall one.
Right here.
And both of them. And this is his wife to be. Carl. He already approached me and said he's gonna get married. I said, oh, yeah, I'll do it. In a hurry. All right, she's going to facilitate. Listen, we're going to do this, inshallah, for about a half an hour, okay? Then we're gonna break down the chairs, combine our prayers, and then we're gonna do some business. I hope they don't go to sleep, brother. Man. Nobody's gonna go to sleep. So, is that okay? Let this be our fireside check, okay? We had to make some adjustments. Thank you. Sophia.
Assalamu alaikum. If anyone has any questions, if you could raise your hand and I'll come to you, either side, our sister's side or our brother's side. Is there anyone with any questions, comments, or concerns you'd like to ask to our guests?
Assalamu alaikum.
What's that?
Sister Glory, when you was in Colombia, you mentioned that you all were having Juma. Can you mention the year that you all had Juma? I think you mentioned that you all were doing Juma and at the school, I think maybe. Can you mention this in terms of let everybody know when you all started with that? It wasn't. Well, I'll leave it.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
What respect did I mention?
You said about Juma?
Yeah, about the Juma you all used to have that. Was it in school?
On Fridays.
Yeah. But then, what a specific, was there
Anything specific about that?
Yeah, you mentioned the years that you all was doing that. Not in the public, I think, but in school where you all.
yeah. Well, we had it, you want addresses? I can give you some addresses.
No, he wanted the year.
Well,
It must,
do you remember any of the
it
years?
might have been.
We started in the 40s.
No, it
We
was
started,
to be-
wait a minute, did you say Juma?
Yeah.
No, Juma started in 77 with the Imam. We
No,
ne-
no, I'm talking about, you all, Sister Glory mentioned that you all were having it.
Oh, remember Fridays, every Friday, we brought sheets,
Not for the public, not for the big.
just for the school.
Oh, yes, we did.
brought
Yes.
sheets.
Well, it was a lot of things, a lot of practice that we did before, before the Imam even came into office. Yes, sir. Yeah, we had, matter of fact, we used to go to the Eid celebrations, before he came. We did a lot of practicing of, I would say, Islamic way before then, but we didn't do it so much purposely because everybody was still into the drilling and the Hut 234 and the FOI and the MGT. So we wasn't looked upon too much like it was the future, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad encouraged it because he had something special with us that he was doing, and it was being recorded. Jamil was recording to him every maybe every 6 months, so he'd give reports. But in between that, yes, we were going. We went to one in University of Chicago where they had, I don't know, I guess it was a Juma, when, going way back, man, when the Pakistan won its independence in 1948. Yeah, and we was there, and I got the picture of Dr. Hassan holding the flag, but I held it too. I lost that picture. But we were students then, and we was there celebrating their first independence in 1947 is when they won the independence. 48 is when they had the celebration, and we was there celebrating with them, holding the flag up, saying "Long live Pakistan," you know. And also, it was several other places in Chicago on 79th Street. If you know anything about Chicago, on the corner there, one is a big theater, and on the corner there's a church. And if you know the design of it, it's a mosque. It was a mosque. Brother Ukda, you know, is it right on the corner, right? Right on the corner there, they turned into Regal Theater for a while, the later part, but was it the Tivoli Theater or something? But it's a big place. It looks like a mosque. It was built just like a mosque. And right on the corner is the church. It still got the minarets there. Well, we was going there, they had to eat there too. Eid celebrations there too. But that wasn't looked upon all that much because, man, they was into papers, selling them papers and things, and we was going the other way there. And so Elijah wanted me to get out there and join it. I did it for a long time, selling papers and bringing people. Matter of fact, at one time, I brought a whole church to the temple. That's how fired up I was. Me and Gloria and the Imam, we were the Muhammad's youth, and we was going to churches inviting people there. Leroy and the Imam would get up there and speak. But I went to the church by myself, and I brought the whole church. I went for the 11 o'clock service, 2 o'clock, they was at the temple, but I tricked them there. So there was a black man from they're getting ready to tell us about our own, and he's here from the Middle East, and he's going to do this to us and take us back to Africa. Oh, I had it going good, but they came. But answering the Imam's question again, what's going to make me relate way back to what you're saying, Imam Omar, back to that, when Elijah Muhammad had a vision, all right? He had a vision in 1947 that he wanted Quranic Arabic taught to his people. And he was looking for an Arabic teacher, and there's a store he used to always go to buy his halal food. And he got it was his cousin, Jamil Diab. We had 2 other Arabic teachers, and they didn't work out too good. One guy was trying to be slick. He joined that stayed for about a month or 2 months, singing the alphabets, trying to be real slick with us. And so he was kind of like aware of our community. He wasn't agreeing with the teachings. He thought we was a little nuts, Talking about Yaqub's history and a lot of stuff he was influenced by this Arab was. He gave us 4 words. Let's see. How's it go? Jaws, Laos, Maos. No, Ting, Jaws, Jaws, Laos, and Maos. Ting, Jaws, Laos, and Maos. And so we were singing those, saying, now what is this guy giving us for the lesson, and then the alphabets too. See, that's how they come and they slick on you and tell you something you ain't aware of, you'll miss it. Teen is a fig. Mouse, I think, is an almond. And another one is a walnut. And the last one is a banana. He started off with teen, the fig. The fig has a whole lot of seeds in it. So he was relating to our brains. Our brains is all messed up. And then he went from that to a solid one. And then the next one was the walnut. One of the two, it went from your man all messed up to the type of nuts that had 1 seed or 2 seeds. Then he said, it ain't no hope for us, so everything went bananas. That's how he talked about it. I didn't realize what it was until the Imam started teaching the classes. I said, oh, that's what that meant. He's running there making fun of us. He started from teen, the figs, and that sounds so nice the way he was saying it. Jaws, laws, mouths, and we were saying it there. He was talking about us. You see, after that, everything went bananas. But anyway, from that class, that first class, I was there. The Imam and Leroy, and Gloria was still a little girl. About maybe a couple of years later, then she came to the class, and she was there ever since then. All right? Because there's different ages, was in the class. It wasn't just teenagers, some that were 8 years old was in the class. And from that class is what we have today. Because of the vision of Elijah Muhammad, he wanted us to learn Quranic, not Arabic language, he said, because anybody can learn Arabic language. But he wanted Quranic Arabic so that, for 2 things, so his people will be able to understand the religion and the Quran. Now this is in 48, he's saying something like that. And we was talking about Farad and the devil and all of that. Isn't that something? But his vision was just that keen. So, man, I can imagine that I was in that class that made history. And now what we have today all over the world. All over the world. You can go to almost any mosque and you hear people in there teaching Arabic now. Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Yeah. That's a blessing from Allah. Just that alone, I can give you a whole big, more story just on just our class. His vision, the vision of Elijah Muhammad, and how that transferred into what we're doing today all over. But all those people, the young people today, they should know that history. Don't just come up and say, now you a Muslim, and you trying to follow the ways of the immigrant Muslims because they wearing theirs a certain way. You wear your dress like what you doing now. Stay in your own culture. You don't need to have on no clothes that looks like you're from Pakistan or from Saudi or nothing. You stay in your own culture, and I gave you this much. Go among the immigrant Muslims and dress like them. And go among them and dress like yourself. Watch the difference the way they treat you. Be a difference night and day. Gloria dressed like this, and she with the immigrants every Friday. Every Friday at Jummah prayer, she's dressed like this. You know some of them trying to dress like that now? We got a couple of them that changed their dress a little bit. Yeah. So Imam Omar, you asked a good question. Yes.
We're going to Sister Gloria, and then we're going to go to Imam Mutakabir over here. And
I just want to ask a question. I heard Imam Muhammad say that he has never eaten pork before. And since you all grew up together, have either one of you ever eaten pork before?
No, somebody slipped it on me once. But in terms of it being my diet, no.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
No, I have never eaten pork.
That's great. I try to get my parents not to even, they're Christians, and my mom said the reason they can eat pork today, and the reason they didn't eat it back in the day of Jesus, because there was no refrigerator to keep the pork fresh. So now they got refrigerators. They said they can eat it because they can keep the pork fresh. So I try.
You know,
Fortunately, I was raised as a Muslim. My parents were Muslims. My grandparents were Muslims. So I never had pork. My children never had pork. And even though they played outside with other children, it was of law. They knew they couldn't eat pork. They knew that they didn't eat at other people's homes. And the neighbors were so kind that they said, oh, they tried to offer my kids something. They said, oh, you know, your children, I would never give them any pork because they tell you they were little. So, no, we don't eat pork.
You know, can I answer a little more about something that I think is important? And I'm not telling people that you have to do this. And that is that the Imam was very careful about, in terms of saying eating pork, is that we don't know what we're eating if we go out in the restaurants. We really don't know. We just have to trust in Allah. And sometimes, I don't know where it was at. They came and gave some serving dinner. And it was some, I don't know if it was a piece of pork on there, something like that. Imam said, I don't eat pork, but I needed this, and that's all that they had. So he took it off that and went on and ate. So, whoa, the Imam ate pork. No, I'm not saying that that's a practice, that he doesn't do that all the time under those circumstances and where he had to eat that particular food, but they said he took it off of there and then brought the plate back, but he know that they didn't change his plate, you know. So what I'm saying is that we don't want to be too fanatical with this. We try to do the best we can not to, of course we don't eat no pork. We don't know if we're getting pork or not, we just trust in Allah in it. So we don't want to get too if I can say fanatical, whatever about eating pork. I mean, not eating pork, but things that might even contain pork. We do the best that we can, and just trust in Allah. I say it that way.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Okay. Assalamu alaikum, brother Imam.
Salam.
And Sister Gloria. I wanted to ask a question sort of from the mystical side. You said you listened to a mystic.
Yes, sir.
Right. I read where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the seventh child of his parents. And I also read where Imam Warti Muhammad was the seventh child of his parents. First of all, is that true? Is that true?
Well, yeah, it's true. He's a seventh child.
Okay.
Imam was the seventh child. Yes. I didn't know he was the seventh child of his brothers and sisters, Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
Well, you can count to see that he is the seventh child.
Right.
He had, let's see, because Akbar, yes, he had 8 children, yes. Well, you know, brother, I could say a lot about that, is that, you know, in this mystic guy that I listens to, he's saying a lot of truth because he believes in God,
Yes.
first of all. And he's trying to tell us that things aren't an accident. There's no accident. Right. Things happen. I wouldn't be surprised, brother, in believing in the terms of that the Imam, yes, it was God's way that he become the seventh child. All right? And you look at all of his addresses, all the addresses that the Imam have lived, they all add up to 3. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And then plus, he was born in 1933. And then I looked up chapter 1933. I kept looking at this here, and everything started adding up. And I said, this is not a mistake. Now, the conclusion I come to, I don't know until Allah show me. I'm not going to say, oh, I got a vision. That's what it means. I don't do that. If I don't know, I don't know. But I just wonder sometimes. Now, I'll tell you this. I've heard the Imam a lot like all of you have heard. And I haven't questioned it a lot about, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. But I really believed in him. I believe he was for real. I believe in his tafsirs and things that he gave. And he says, I can't tell you all what chapter and what verse. Because if I did, I'd be doing your work for you. But what you have to do, if I say that Allah says it in the Quran, then you have to believe it. Have faith and trust, and I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you. Practically everything that the Imam has told me about in the religion that I was searching for so hard for, I found it in the Quran. I wasn't looking for it. And I say, oh, that's what the Imam said last year. Oh, look at this, Glory. Look at it. This is what the Imam said. And one of them was about life after death. The Mr. he talks a lot about life after death. Is there a life after death? And he says he definitely believes in it. Just talking about this mystic, and then I compared with the Imam. So the Imam said, he said that when I was talking to you about, he was saying about we're so used to seeing each other in the physical, that's all we know. It's what we see in the physical. So when a person passes away, we think that that's the end of them. And it's not, if you really understand life as Allah evolves it. But he said that, let me see, I'm going to get my thoughts together. Yeah, anyway, he was saying, Allah says that when you leave from here, you will enter into a world of say, it seems like I've seen this before. Maybe you read it. I found it. It's in the Quran saying just that. This looks like I've seen this before. And then also it says, Allah says that if you all are connected with each other in your faith, you love your wife, your husband, your daughter, your sister, and you really love them. Allah does not disconnect that. Whatever your desire and your want is there, is never destroyed. Just like with everything Allah creates is never destroyed. So when this life is no more, it continues on another dimension. I found that in the Quran too. So as I'm studying, just to want to know, Allah is continuously showing me that the Imam has been teaching us right. You'll come to that with anybody that's talking to you like that. So, yes, that means something, brother. And I don't know, but it is a connection. A brother asked the Imam this. He said, Imam, it's a lot to do. Boy, it's a lot to do. He said, yeah, I know. He said, I got a lot of things to do too. And I said, look like I can't do them fast. I can't finish. And he says, well, what do you do about that? And he says that Allah take you. He said, that's going to happen. He said, but I ain't worried about that so much because if Allah take me in the middle of everything I'm trying to do, He take me from here. I have plenty of time in the next life to keep it going. So I believe that too. You say you have that desire, you want to do something, you didn't finish it, it's going to continue, but it won't continue on this side. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum. Imam Karim, help me if you can on these words you were talking about. If I can get the correct spelling of them, either a copy or a picture of it. And I think one was Lisan Kaum.
Yeah.
Kalbia. I'll try to write it as you were pronouncing it. And Karabat. And is it Menal Dald or something like that? Hasi X Dash.
I can write them out for you. When I can
it.
see you after we get through, I write them out for you. I have it right here. I'll write it out.
Okay.
Matter of fact, if I had time, I'll give you this book and you can Xerox it.
Is it all on one? Is it all on one page?
I'm laughing. I'm gonna tell you why I'm laughing. I was at another. I ain't joking. I'll do that. But I had another book like this. It was full of the Imam's notes and things like that. My youngest daughter, she's like my security guard. She was there with her because she lives in California, and I was with Imam Shuaib, and we was out to dinner. Just talking and having a good time, and so we started talking about words and different things. And so I say, yeah, it means this here. I tell you what, Imam, here, take this here. You go ahead and have it. And my daughter say, what's wrong with you giving him your notes? See, children don't see Imam and all like to see and shake. It was Darnell and Shuaib. That's all. I said, wait a minute, Aisha, this is the Imam. Yes, I understand all of that. Why are you giving your notes? Oh, I'll be glad to share it with you, brother.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and whatever else I can do, let me know.
Yes, thank you.
But Xerox, I don't think we ever Xerox it.
I can take a picture of it with my phone.
Of course you can.
I can shoot.
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to make my way over to Dr. Deborah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I want to thank you both for coming all the way to Charlotte. And I want to personally thank you as the people I consider my parents in Islam. I remember Imam Darnell going to your new Muslim classes.
Yes.
Sister Gloria, I remember sitting underneath your skirt before I could pray, and Harvey in the line, wow. And how protective you were of me as a Christian, observing all these Muslims before I actually became Muslim. So I'll never forget you keeping me between your legs. It was just so special. I wonder if you would, two of you feel comfortable sharing the many times that we would drive to Detroit to go hear Imam speak, and what it was like when you would hear him be engaged by another community outside of Chicago. I appreciate what you said about Chicago before. Alhamdulillah, that's an ongoing story. But
That's right.
I wonder if you could just share, when we would, go to Detroit and sometimes drive over to Canada, just so we could say we've been to Canada, and just what it was like to go hear him in that space over there, if you would mind sharing some of your experiences, hearing him in other places.
Well, she can say something. I'll just say what's on my mind. One thing the experience to me is to let me know that my leader or friend is being accepted all over. That's what make me feel good, to know that he's being accepted, and that the other part too is that whether if I'm on the stage with him or not, I just show the appearance not only to him but to the people to know that I support him. I didn't have to say anything. Sometimes they call me up to recite or say something from the Quran or whatever, but more than anything, I would see him in the audience and I just wave. But just on purpose, I'm not walking with him with the security guards. They made sure I didn't walk with him too. That's another story too. But I won't go into that part because it's not important to me. But the point of it is that if I'm understanding you correctly, is that I think what sticks in my mind more than anything, wherever that he speaks, if it's Detroit or Canada or whatever it is that he speaks, he's being accepted. So when I come back home to my fellow friends that went to school and they lost the spirit and they just out there. A lot of them passed. You look on the school paper, most of the people on that paper is dead. Them students is dead. But in the book that I'm writing, their names is mentioned in there, so that their children or parents will know that we haven't forgotten them or whatever. But some of them are still alive, but they have lost the meaning of it. Their parents was pioneers, and they did a lot of sacrificing, but their children have lost it. So their children have lost it. That's what really bothers me. So my spirit tells me to get up out of the bed and continue to do something. Just get up out the bed and go somewhere. And I might go somewhere that I'm not the guest speaker, or I'm not the guest at all, I'm just there. There are some people in the audience that love the Imam and his father and his community. So I come there for them. Even though I might not be with that Imam, not the Imam against me, nothing like that, but I'm not really like the person to come there and do a main talk. But I come and be in the audience on purpose. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Well, I was thinking particularly when we would have first Sundays in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And Imam would speak. So we had a group of Muslims in Chicago, a group of Muslims in Detroit, and some of that was the same, some of it was different.
You mean because of the division?
Well, no,
Not division, I don't mean that. You mean like,
just being at the public address.
what about it now?
If you could just share some of your experiences hearing the Imam and his public addresses, if you can.
Oh, seeing him at different places or just?
In the public address, we used to have the first Sunday was Detroit.
Yes.
He would give his public address in Detroit. We would drive to a 4-hour drive to Detroit to hear him.
I don't know. It's kind of, no, I think I know what you're saying. I guess it would be hard for me to explain it to a point that something drives me. Something is inside of us. She goes with me too, but there's a feeling that tells me I gotta go. It's hard to explain that feeling, and I think I know what you're saying. But it's just there, because sometimes my children even ask, where are you going? why you gotta go? He's gonna be over there or whatever. But I used to go by bus. Sometimes I ride the train, and then I'd be in the plane, and then we'd drive, whatever. But it's a drive inside of me. I don't know, just saying I gotta go. And if I don't, he might. I don't know. He might miss me. It just be there, doctor. It just be there. I don't know. It's a drive in me. I can't help it. You want to say something, Gloria?
I think we were motivated to go because we, how to say, we were in that same spirit, and we had to be there to let him know we supported him, because Imam W.D. Muhammad was always different, and he was always different. Even though we were in the same class, we looked up to him. It was something different. He was always a thinker, and he had his own mind.
And you know, another thing I think about in saying that, because you asked us a good question. You know, it's like if you're somewhere speaking, and you might have a connection with that person. Might be your brother, your sister, might be a friend or whatever, and you can be up there talking, and all of a sudden you spot somebody that you know. They won't say it's the person's name, but it gives them a connection that is hard to explain. Sometimes the Imam can be talking directly to me, and we ain't said nothing to each other. But it's the spirit that be there that's there. Let me give you I wouldn't say negative situation. I had a situation in Chicago where the Imam made a decision on me. And it hurt me real bad. It did, it was publicly. And I was hurt, and then I was mad too. You know, because in my mind, mad, I'm saying, what's wrong with Wallace? You know. And the other one there, what did I do wrong? Those are the two feelings I had. So a couple of Sundays passed by, and the man was talking. I didn't lose the spirit not to come back to hear him talk. I'm thankful to Allah I didn't have that. He was talking. He said, and he talked about leadership. He said, when a man is in my position, he said, you got to know who's with you. So he says, sometimes you have to make a decision, and it could be against your best friend. When he said that, he was almost looking at me. I felt much better. That's what I felt much better when he said it. Sometimes against your best friend, I was okay after that. He could say anything else that he wanted to say. I understood. Two ways I understood it. I know Wallace. I know him. And I know W.D. Muhammad. I know him real good. And I have seen him on many occasions where he had one thought all the time. He said, man, I hate to see somebody being misused. That was always his thought pattern all the time. I hate to see somebody misused. So when he did something once, maybe during the same period of time, I was at the school and I wasn't there no more. He had to let me go. I said, why you let me go, man? We homies. What's up, man, with you? That's what I want to say. What's up with you, man? You let me go from the school there, and that's all I know. So he let me go. I wasn't going to work there. He found something else to do. I was really feeling bad. About a week passed by. I lost my witness. I was laying in the bed just trying to think where else I can go. Not the same day. Children say, Daddy, Imam Muhammad is at the door. I said, what? And I jumped up real quick. I come to the door, and the Imam had 2 bags of groceries in his hand, and he had a brown envelope with some money in it. Okay, man, take it easy. That's all he did. But he made a decision to let me go, but he gave me those 2 bags of groceries and some money. So those kind of things, it makes me, Dr. Deborah, that's what keeps me. She gave out. Yeah, oh, there you are. I think that's part of some of the answer I'm trying to give you what you were asking. It's just a driving in there that I can't help it. It's just there because I know this man, and I know he means good. I know that, so I'll stay with him.
Assalamu alaikum. With technology advancing and social media, especially YouTube, a lot of young people are being reintroduced or introduced for the first time to Imam W. Muhammad. My question is, for a young person that wants to study the Imam and also study their religion, study their own religion, al-Islam, where should they begin to introduce themselves to the Imam? And also, second part to the question, a new Muslim, if somebody take their Shahadatain, there's a lot of Muslims grabbing at them, trying to pull them into their direction or other direction. What suggestions would you make to retain someone to remain in this community of Imam W. Muhammad and following in that route?
Yes, sir. Okay, well, what comes to my mind right away, I saw Allah says in the Quran, it says, Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. Obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those placed in authority among you. You have it right here. That's a good start right here with Imam Khalil. Remain loyal to your local Imam, and his work speaks for itself. So those of you who are qualified, come and support him and join and help see where can I fit in that to help with that brother, with that Imam. Now, other than that too, find others besides that. If you want to extend yourself, find others where it's like going buying books. Get other books that you feel comfortable with and you start studying. But that'd be a good start. But start first at home. See what you can do, because you can be a lot of support right here alone. Just take yourself serious. Take it serious here, and you can cause this here to grow. Yes. I think that would be the start right there. Because other than that, we got a lot of qualified people around the country that are youth that are pretty smart, and they know Arabic good and all like that. Here's the only caution that I have. I see a lot of them being lost. They go over in the Middle East and they come back. They think that they're King Saul's cousin. I don't know what it is about it that they come over there and they go crazy. Come back over here and talk to me like they never heard of Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman? Who is this person? And that used to be Henry Jones before he went over there. you had those kind too, so watch out for that one. Yeah. So I don't know what they do to him over there. Maybe give him a big check. I don't know. It could have been that too. But Imam said one thing about that. He said, I joined the folklore movement. He said, and there's some good people. He said, but I go among them as a Muslim and I leave as a Muslim. So I can go among the most educated. I be around Arabs. I work with Arabs, immigrants. I was grown up with them. I'm with them every week at the hospital. I visit Arab patients. I'm with them. I talk to them at Jummah prayer. I'm with them all the time. Glory's with me every Friday too with them. And they love us. Why? Because I don't try to talk like them. And Glory ain't trying to dress like them. And I always let them know I'm proud of my heritage. I say, what's up? What's to you? I can be doing like to tell something. and then I can transfer that right over, and I can speak Arabic. And they'll ask me what country I come from. That's how Allah has blessed me with the accent of Arabic. It's not a put on. It's a for real. Allah has blessed me with that because Jamil Diab taught us that. He trained us well, and he taught one thing. He had a good method. Learn Arabic without seeing any English letters. Learn it by sound only, just to hear the sound. And that's the same way we learned it when we were babies. We learned that babies learn how to speak through sound first, because they hear the mother's voice. They hear, but they don't know it yet. They just see it. They hear, they didn't notice there's somebody. But the only time the doctor told me, the only time the baby sees the mother when it's first born, that's why they smile. Oh, that's how you look. That's what a doctor told me that.
Yes, the other part.
Oh, she say, see how King's sisters are? She said there's another part. See, I got carried. We talking about something else, and she said, don't forget the other part now.
The person that just took the Shahada, how do we keep them involved with our community, because it gets a lot of other Muslims grabbing them into their direction?
I don't know. I would say, when you say Imam Khalil and other Imams, Talib, I would say we do that through the language we use. I think that's one way. I was once talking about the radio broadcast that we had the Imam on, and he said, whenever you have a broadcast, always introduce the people to the basic pillars of the beliefs and the practices. So I said, okay, but I'll give it the way he give it. He said if you say it in order, they're going to practice in order. But if you say it out of order, they're going to practice out of order. So if we understand the basic principles of Shahada, it's not Shahada, but it's Shahadatain. It's two things that you will bear witnessing to. Then what's next? And then you go to the beliefs. And I think if you explain the way you explain it to them, you got their attention. But if you just explain it as something that the average Arab or immigrant said, they're going to go in that direction. They're going to follow knowledge. And I think it's the way that you present yourself, your religion. So I found it very effective to teach them the basic pillars of Islam, the beliefs and the practice. And I think that would be a good start. Mm-hmm. They will follow knowledge. Believe me, people will follow knowledge, and they're going to say, oh, they talking like this, but over here, this makes sense. They're going to come to their own conclusion.
All right, so we're going to take about 2 to 3 more questions. I'm going to make about 2 points, but 2 to 3 more questions. So our brother right here and right here.
Imam Talib. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, wa alaikum assalam.
We appreciate your books on Arabic, and we still use them at Masjid al-Shah for beginner students coming in to Masjid. And also, I want to know, do you plan to write any more books on Arabic grammar, Quranic Arabic grammar? I know it's a lot out there, and you have did a lot, but do you plan on any more?
Yes, I do. What I'm trying to do, brother, I don't know if I should use the word broke. Yeah, I can say broke. I'm broke. But I'm wealthy at the same time. Yeah, I'm at the same time. I just have to, you know what it is? It's two things with all the imams, all of us now. If we are imams, we need support from the people, period itself. And so if you find of some value to that person, invest in them, help them. One sister, I sent her a book of a lot of information on the Imam, how about basic pillars, dawah, everything's all in one book. It's a study guide for imams. I don't have it with me, but I happen to find it very useful. All throughout the imams explain about the religion, a lot of things in there. And some of it he dictated to me, and I put in the book for him. And she sent it back because I had stapled it together. And then she said, she put red marks in, this should have been over here, this should have been here. She said like this, like this. I didn't send it back to her. The book is, if she was really listening at the messaging side of that, she would have kept it. It wasn't about, I understand, if I had enough money, I would take it to a publisher and have it done professionally, but I don't have the money to do that, so help me. That's we can share the profit or you keep the profit. It doesn't matter. But people who have money, they so stingy. So we need help. We don't have the finances. Now here come another one. An Arab come out and do the same book I did, and it looks so colorful, and looks so professional, and they make us look bad like that. So we just have to learn how to support each other in those things. Brother, I have some books. You'd be surprised through the years. Yeah, maybe I might have didn't fill some of y'all's orders. I better be quiet. This is a confession day too now. It wasn't because I couldn't do it. It wasn't there. I had the money. But other things came out, and my wife said, you should have spent that on that. Yeah, but the lights was due, you know. No, but ain't it all the time, brother, but I'm just saying. we need help. So I got from the beginning to advance in Arabic, books that's completed. But I'm trying to get the money to finance it, you know. Just like now, I'm trying to, and you lead me to that also, I'm trying to finish my history book. I finished it, but I came here to ask for support. The people, if they would donate toward, where is it? I put that envelope somewhere. Would you donate to make sure this history book gets out? And I have a whole article on it, where the Imam talks about it, what I'm talking about right now. How it's important for us to win over Satan. Write books, brothers and sisters. You have to start writing. Writing books, not so much saying, the Imam said this, the Imam said that. Let's not try to capitalize off the Imam like that. If you don't see his name on there, you ain't gonna buy it. The Imam doesn't want that. The Imam wants, he's gonna be my promoter. We put him on the staff right away. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, brother, the moment I saw you, I knew you was all right. That's his son. I knew there was something good about this brother. The moment I saw him, you know what? I would tell you, in Wall Street, what was that one where the guy was teaching him how to do Wall Street? And he told this young guy, he said, you know what? He said, the moment I saw you, you had a lot of potential, but he messed up. And the company fired him. And then he said, you know what? The moment I saw you, I knew you wasn't no good. But really, I appreciate what the brother's doing. And what I want you to do, if you have a pen, and you put something in there, because I didn't plan to do it like, but that's fine. I want your name on that because I want to put it in the book, in this history book. And I do have information to leave with you, with the Imam, about what the book is about, so you all can have a copy of what it's all about. Okay? Now, the brother, when I was talking about those tapes and stuff that's out there, a lot of it is history and different things. Whatever it is, except the Juzra, I couldn't give that for $5. But the other tapes and stuff on there, you all can have it for $5. I'm going to use it toward my book. You can take it for $5 no matter what it is on there, except the Juzra program. But it's only it's $5. And if you don't have the money, you know, I'll send it to you. And if you don't do that, take it. It's all right. I'm still gonna get paid anyway. It doesn't matter. It's the knowledge that you need to get more than anything. All right. So yes, sir, I do have it. You're welcome. But please your name on that, because I need to have your name in the book. Thank you very much, brother, for that. I appreciate that a lot.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir. Was that the end of the question, brother? I'm sorry. All right, okay.
My question is this: after the man passed away, there was a lot of confusion about the conventions, and we want to support. I'm sorry, we want to support what's best. What do you recommend? Because we don't want to see the community
Convention?
Yes.
Okay. Imam Vernon Fareed started the efforts of putting, when the Imam first passed, in Kentucky, he got all the Imams together to try and unite us all together. You was there. Imam Khalil is a witness to it. He wanted us to all unite and work together so that we can make a decision, maybe to have a convention at different places. But he wanted the Imams to make the decision, not no particular group. It was time for the Imams to now take over. And there's no one person that's an Imam to say, this is the leader. That's not the way to go. And the Imam never even left it that way. All right? So, unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. So, through time, it broke off. And it started going just one way. And the one way that it went, it was very undesirable. It started going another direction to the point it almost turned into dictatorship. It's this way or no way, and the Imam didn't want that. So it caused us to become broke up, unfortunately. I believe one day it's going to happen in this room right here. And I have something written in this book. Anybody got this book here? It's a lot of information in here. Oh, yes. On page 13. A model community in America. Yeah, the growth. I'm sorry, growth for a model community. It's a lot of information here. But on this page here, the one particular page, 18, he's talking about the history of the Temple of Islam, and he says that we should be aware of our history and we should have a studious group of intellectuals, or at least academic-minded people, studying our history and studying the present circumstances and predicting for us future circumstances. And those guidance, he goes on to say that where it should be published. And we got it right here in this room, right here. Our dear sister, I hope you don't mind me saying it, my dear sister, but you all read her book? She has a book out, Dr. On polygamy, wasn't it? Yeah, real good book. And you got keep an open mind too, now when you read it. Don't get carried. Ooh, polygamy. Oh, astaghfirullah. No, I didn't know astaghfirullah. Understand what that is. But it's a good book. But it became from us from a professional standpoint of view. It came from a professional because if she don't write it, the immigrants will write and give you the wrong impression. So you read it, get her book, so you can see our ideas and our mindset, the way we think about whatever it may be. And I'm just using that as an example because she's right there. And it's a real good book on polygamy. But there's others, and he mentioned in here, it could be on science, basic pillars of Islam, our imams that's present here. It would be good for you all to, from your perspective, the growth of a community, whatever it is, whatever, how to this and how to that. But it's by imams from us, and it can be from the sisters too. Can you explain to us why the Nation of Islam used MGT and GCC? What does that mean? See, and one of you sisters write that on that book because they got it all out of whack. So you know what I'm saying? That's how you're going to control that weak minds out there in the air that's trying to destroy us. Because if we don't do it, they're going to keep on writing books. They're going to keep on writing books. People are going to read them, and they're going to influence their minds. And then pretty soon, they'll be wiping us out of history. So now, you know what they're doing now? I don't know if they do it here, Imam Khalil, but I used to be able to go and talk at other places. Now they don't even allow us hardly to come and talk to their people. I went to a place to raise funds because they raise some money, man. When you come in there, you know, look here, they pull out $150 bill like it's change. I was standing there one time where we went to ask for some get help, and the Arab just went in his pocket and pulled out 5 $100 bills and had it balled and thrown it in there. I said, wait a minute, man, give me that, let me put that in my pocket. $5 $100 bill like it wasn't nothing. You know, but anyway, we got among us too, all of us saying that we're all good-hearted people. What I'm saying is we got to think like that. And don't think because it's our brother that's the imam here, that's going to make him look bad, look good. So I ain't going to hardly give him anything. He coming in, man, brother, coming in one time with a roll of money like that. And he pulled it out of his pocket, and a rubber band on it, and pulled out 2 singles. Astaghfirullah. But we getting there. We don't have all negative going on in our community. There's a lot of good going on in the community. We just don't want to live in the past and talk about the way things was and this brother. We got to get away from all that. That's gone now. This right here shows you that our community is growing. Just don't let Satan come in here and then tell you to roll up your pants leg and the other one be higher than the other one. and what the hadith says. It was another person that had a question, I think.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry, Imam Talib.
That's okay. It's all a benefit for us. Alhamdulillah. You mentioned about, I think it was the museum,
Yes,
about
sir.
the plaques and things. Is there any more information you could share with that, or is that enough for us? And when I get back to Boston, there's always this one brother. He's going to come to me and say, what 3 things did Imam Darnell Karim say for me to say to him? What 3 things will Imam Karim focus in on? Could you do that for me, please?
Oh, thank you.
Just summarize.
You know, Imam, this is time for me to show this to him, right? You know, everything is done on time, Talib. But I don't like to embarrass this particular brother. He's probably laid back a little bit, quiet. But I'm going to tell you something about this brother real fast. This brother is one of, as many, that's our strongest supporter. Right here, Imam Talib with the W.D. Muhammad Community Center project and other things that we have asked for. This brother does not hesitate, and he responds to us right away. Right there, that brother alone. So he asked a question that should be answered by everybody because misinformation, brother, destroys the community. I'll start off by saying this here real quick, and I ain't gonna elaborate on it. It was a Muslim sister who put on the internet and stated that I stole $1 million from Imam W.D. Muhammad's cult. Now, first of all, you got the name wrong. Imam is not, his place is not a cult. It's not a cult. That which is not true, of course. The Imam started off W.D. Muhammad Community Center when I said I wanted to resign. But I didn't tell him that. He said, no, name Harvey Islamic Center, Imam W.D. Muhammad Community Center. And when it started like that, my first thought was, we're going to build something for the Imam. That was all on my mind. Now we got a chance to build something for the Imam. The rest is history about that. People started responding. They were sending money to us. We formed the board, approved by the Imam, all of that. Every month for 2 years, I would send the Imam a financial report of what was going in, what was coming out. Every month for 2 years, he got the report. And then we would have our board meetings. Okay, a couple of them resigned, and we got some others. It was going along real good until the Imam passed away. So we wound up, we had to spend money. Of course, you always spend money. We had money left. What do we do with this money that's in the bank? And then right away, we said, thankful to a sister in Chicago, HLL, she said, I found some property. I said, that's what we need to do with it. And the best investment that you can put in is in property. And that's how Islamic expressions, the Imam say Islamic expressions is expressed in bricks and mortar. When people see structure, that says a whole lot. You know, you can sell something all day long, but if they don't see anything tangible, they think, oh, it's just money's just there. So we got a nice place that we're proud of it. It went down a little bit, but my son, out of his own personal money, he got the spirit that he's trying to repair it because the donation almost went down to nothing. We don't own the place personally. It's owned by the board. It's non-for-profit. And nobody in there, including myself, nobody can borrow money on it, nothing. If I was a crook, I could do it. I say, I'm the president, so I can get some money from this. That's not even in my spirit. So we don't pay no taxes on it. Isn't that wonderful? The only thing we have to do is keep it up. And Imam hired an architect that's the best in the country. And he gave us over $100,000 worth of architectural drawings for this project. And I have one of them right here, right now. I'm going to open up what I want to do is give it to our brother here for the community here. It's the only one. I got another drawing in there also, but I can get it again from the architect. But this is the drawings and architecture drawing that Imam designed that he wanted for the museum, community center, and school. It's a very professionally done. It's going to be here with you all. I'm going to leave it with Imam Khalil. So people want to hear, when you donate, you want to see results. Why don't they come in and check the place out? Come and see your donations. And you might see your name on the wall saying thank you. But nobody won't do that, so they let me know something wrong. We sent out 4 times, 500 and some letters thanking people for their donations. Not too many responses, but it's okay. But that's all right too, because we have the records that we did it. And thank Allah that our record is clear. She called IRS and told IRS to turn us in. We ain't no good. They don't know IRS is our friend. Now she gonna call IRS and tell them about us, and they already know us very well. We file our taxes every year. We have a clean record with that, and it's open to anybody. And when you come in there and see it, what we got, as a result, you all donation and other people, you're gonna be surprised. How can our people let something like this here go to waste? There are 3 community centers been built since we came up with that concept in Chicago. When they found out that we was doing it, now they done did it. Then we still right there, and they done abandoned the ship, so to speak. But we're okay with that. There's a story about that, including this masjid and other places, even where you at, Imam Talib, and all you other imams, wherever that you at. Remember this. The story of the elephant in the Quran is true. That's a true story. That was not a fairy tale. When he's talking about that, I think the guy's name was Abraha, was trying to destroy the Kaaba then. And he had the elephants and everything will come there and just wipe it out. And all of a sudden, I think it was the birds. Birds came there with stones. You know, just like you can get, when we get this, when it rains, these ice down on from the sky. Hail. If Allah can cause it to happen, what make you think He can cause stones to come down? Well, they came and flew over there on the soldiers. And when the elephants got almost to the Kaaba, they put on brakes and they was afraid to go any further, and they went the other way. Don't you know that's a sign for us? That Allah will protect the house. Whatever you're trying to build and do something, Allah will protect you, and Allah is protecting this house. They can't destroy this. It's impossible. Through gossip or not gossip, physically, they will never be able to destroy what's here, because there's too many of you all in here that Allah is protecting you. And the Imam said this here. He said in Milwaukee, he says that in our community association that was built like it was, he said Allah always sends angels among the people. And he says that they don't know it, that they are, but Allah always set angels among the people to protect to protect the community. So it looked like we a certain way and everybody's moved up. That's not true. Allah is protecting this here. And in due time, Allah say, well, katharakum, and then one, you will qalil, then you will be kathara, and then you will be many. So our office, W.D. Muhammad Community Center Project, even though to a certain point, certain people have did everything they can to try and destroy it, we're still standing. We're still there, and thank Allah we have it's because it's my wife too. But this sister here, she ain't gonna let one dime go overboard or whatever, be misused, including me too. That's the truth. She said, she texted me too and said, no, we can't do that. This is what's gotta be done. Right here, she's a good bookkeeper. She don't let nothing pass her up. So I said, no, girl, I need that for the, nope, not here.
On behalf of the community, brother, man, I'm gonna put this in your wife's hand. No, we got more too. There you go, Sister Gloria. Thank you. Yes, you got more? You got more? Come on.
Hey, brother, the moment I saw you, brother, I knew you was all right. But, brother, Imam, can you open it up there? You want me to do it? All right, I can explain it. And this belongs to you all here.
You know, whatever you do in Chicago, we're going to try to do together.
Yeah, this is the, all the doubters, you can tell them you got it too, you saw it. These are the original plans of Imam W.D. Muhammad that he designed. This is Imam's work. And that he wanted to be just like this. And it's to be on a 20-acre land. Here's the community center. All those is chairs and things. And it's facing the Kaaba. Right here in the middle is the museum. And the museum will be our history in there. And these here in the green are the classrooms. And he said this, he said, Imam Karim, he said that if this plan doesn't work in Chicago, then take it where it can be done. So this program is fit anywhere. And everybody around the country, anywhere, they are welcome to come to the community center administrative office. You're welcome to come anytime there. And when you see it, you're going to be surprised what's there. Our history and everything's around the wall. All of the records that they got of the school in Chicago, they're stored with us. We have a lot of history there in that office. So that office has to be protected. Our records is there, everything, his plans. So when you come in there, you're going to see a big picture like this on the wall of the whole project. This is the sketch of it, but you'll see the whole project on the wall when you come in there. And so what I did in there is that on one side of it, I have the plans of Elijah Muhammad. Remember his plans? He wanted to build and construct and finish in Chicago. I have that on the wall. And on the other side, I have the plans of Mecca, where they're building. They have a new facility. If you all been there lately, it's something else now. And I have that on that side. And I have Imam Muhammad's plans right in the middle. Show you that we're consistent with times. So the office is to be used for Islamic studies for the children. And different programs for children in the neighborhood. My son trying to do that. And I'll be studying, and Gloria will be studying Islamic studies. But we had a bad winter. And what happened is that it's destroyed a lot of things. So it's being rebuilt again. You go in there right in and see it, but we want to see it when it's made, it's fixed up real good. But these are the original plans of W.D. Muhammad. That it was designed by him through our architect, Yusuf Shakur. And I have more than that to show you too. But it's all there, and it's all open. They call it all public information. It's all there. So
I was in.
Sarah?
Would that be in Harvey or Chicago?
Well, it's the original plans is for Chicago. But I'm only saying to the imams and to the community here, if it don't work there, we're gonna have it right here. Boston, you know, it's a race out here. This is business. We can't be waiting around on procrastinations and whatever. Whoever gets it first, that's it. You got it.
Wherever the money's at.
There you go, wherever the money's at. That's true. Yeah. But it's a lot, man. A lot of information is being directed in the Carolinas. I don't know what's happening about that.
Let me mention this. Years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and Imam was giving a talk. And he talked about the Jews.
Really?
He said, yeah, he said, the Jew, he has a portable religion, a portable community concept. Everywhere he goes, he carries that concept. He can be in Boston, he can be in Charlotte, he can be in Chicago. You're gonna find the same idea of Jewish community. He was telling us that we need to have that kind of mindset.
Thank you for saying that.
So that if you do it in Chicago, you should be able to do it here.
That's the point. It don't mean we're not gonna do it in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah. But if you do it first, we come here first. It might make them do something in Chicago. But we need a place for history's sake. That people can, around the world, can come and visit and say, this is where Elijah, W.D. Muhammad, they did whatever the case. We need a historical site for the world. So he told me this, quote unquote, he says, if you follow through with my plan that I'm telling you, Imam Karim, he said the world will come to you. And the reason why is because what we have here, other people want it too. He said the only thing you got to do is come to them with a business plan. To show them that if we give you this money, what you going to do with it or whatever. They said that's the only thing missing. It only takes one or two pieces of man's and this you're going with it. That's all it takes. So I ain't taking this back home. It's staying here. So I don't have no secrets.
Okay.
My man, he knows all about us in Chicago, don't we, man? Yeah, and your spirit is still there too, brother. Yeah, that's right. Yes, sir.
How much acreage is that on right there? That property?
That's on was it 20 acres area? I think that's on 20 acres. But we need more than that. That I think he did that because of the way we was talking 20 acres. Probably about maybe 40 or 50 acres. You wanted enough land, for especially for the park. You know? Yes, sir.
Has anybody talked to Imam? I'm sorry.
This is going to have to be, we got to close out.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Has anybody talked to Imam Pasha with the property he got in Detroit?
Well, you all ask some real good questions. I mean, these are some good questions. I'm going to try to answer what I know gossip, But I think the Imam talked about the word group soul. I think you've probably heard of group soul. The only thing we need right now is group soul. Because right now it's my way or no way. I don't need to say no more. Yeah, that's all, because only thing I can say nothing but good about the brother. That's all I can say, something good about it. Yeah, and I congratulate him. But all this talent is out here, man. It's just waiting on this. It's gonna happen. Inshallah, it happens. Were you through, sister?
No.
She's not through. That's right.
We have a
No,
couple
she-
announcements too after she finishes, and
Yeah,
then we're
go
gonna
ahead.
break the tables down, and we're gonna make combine our prayers. And and remember, we have dinners inside and outside. So please support it.
Okay. Yes, sir. Go. You sit down.
We can't go anymore. I mean, it depends. Okay, because we're getting ready to close out. Is it what? Okay.
So we
I'm
have
sorry.
a program in our community. We have a graduate level program, and we're studying the language of the Imam W.D. Muhammad. And I'm so grateful that we have YouTube, and we had people in our community that had, you know, the insight and the foresight to put the clips of Imam W.D. Muhammad as well as what they share on that platform for us to study. And so besides that, Sister Gloria, you made a beautiful point about Imam W.D. Muhammad being different. So while I was transcribing for Imam Michael Sahir on his radio show, you were a guest on this radio show.
Yeah.
You shared the same sentiment as what your wife shared. And on the radio show, you also shared about the books that you're working on and things of that nature.
Yes.
Is it on your heart to put it in an audio format? Because that could be cheaper.
Say that again.
Audiobook format. It could be cheaper to put it on an audiobook format. It's a broader dynamic in terms of demographic, and you only have to pay for it that one time, and then you can get paid for it, and we will support you.
Whoa, that's something to think about, isn't it?
Where you didn't say you were studying.
Sister Khadija Sadiq Muhammad is the professor.
Who is?
The imams.
She is. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
She is.
So this is a new program.
Man, wait till I
This is
see her.
the second year. It's very new, so I'm loving it.
You gonna talk to her? Well, I'd like to talk to her too. Okay, that's the thing about it. We have a lot of valuable information, but it needs to be directed. Let everybody know that the professional notice that this need is there. You know. So inshallah, Imam David, your thing gonna grow. I know it wasn't a question, but I'm saying that because you're talking about business. And the only thing the businessmen have to do is just be awakening to what it's about. Because the Imam said this. He said, a community Islamic center, a nuclear for community development. Islamic center for nuclear for the community development. But he said the business is right in the middle. And then it grows out. The business is all around it. That's how we grow. So the businessmen have to come to the one concept in their mind, one sort, not a business here, there, because it won't show no growth. But if they can come to a geographical location and come to Raleigh here or whatever and shop, we're in business then. Yeah. So just something to think about, David, that's all. Thank you for that information. I'll get something to you. I'll get something to you because I have all of the. I have so much. It's not a lot. I have 24 tapes of recordings of historical data that's for our community that's needed bad. It's not nowhere to be. No way you're going to have it. I would be glad to share it. And 6 of it is the Imam's words talking about this project. I have 6 tapes on his voice saying, do this, do this, do this. This is how I want this, I want this, I want that. I have 6 tapes on that. And I'm willing to share it. Because it's not mine. Okay.
All praise be to Allah. We're going to have some announcements, and then afterwards we're going to go out and support our vendors. And matter of fact, don't forget tomorrow We still have tomorrow. Imam Darnell has to go to the airport, so he will be speaking first.
Yes, sir.
And then secondly, the brothers from Mecca, men elevating, cultivating community advancement.
Okay.
They will be having a program to honor our pioneers.
You know.
So we wish you could stay.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, but you gotta, we gotta get you back.
Oh man, that would be nice. You know what? What I should leave? I'm not sure. I will leave. Do anybody have? I always start with the Imam first. That's out of respect, you know. I knew something else I wanted to leave with you. What people need to know. When I said, what started the Nation of Islam and what birthed it? How did it start? All of that. Well, I have it, and I wanted for him to give it to the Imam so you all can have it. Because you need to know that. Not just that Savior's Day and, you know, we caught up in not that part, but the Imam was at his house, and he's sitting there talking and telling exactly how everything started and where it's going. We should know that. So I have it with me, and I ain't gonna do this like that. but I'll give it to him because he said one thing about that with information. I said, who do we share this with? And Imam Ronald was there. He was there too. He was there when the Imam said all of that. He said that. He says, take it and share it with those who you trust. Know it for yourself, but share it with those who you trust. And it all started with Imam Ghani in Racine. He the one started because he went to see the Imam first, and he asked could Imam Ronald and Morocco come to see him. They was on there every Thursday to see him. And he said that, yes, he can come, and they start meeting with him. Then I was meeting with him about the project and the Hafiz program. All this was going on at the same time. And so he says, if you're all going to do it, make sure if you publish it together. So everything he's talking about is doing everything together. So it's been a lot, brothers and sisters, that was going on that I was there. And I'd be glad to tell you everything. You can put me on the mic, I'll tell the city.
Okay, when we're done, we're going to break these tables down on this side. We're going to offer our prayer. We're going to combine them. But right now, we want to have some announcements. Imam David Hassan, he has a good program coming up that we need to know about.
Thank you, Brother Imam. Thank you, Imam Darnell Karim.
You're welcome.
I was scheduled to speak somewhere else this week, but I chose to be here with y'all here to hear Darnell Karim. And my wife, Basima, come forth, and she's going to be able to give the announcement. It won't take but a minute or two, and then it will be over with. It won't take but a minute. She's going to get the announcement, Brother Imam.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, no, I can stand. I've been sitting a while, and I felt great sitting there. No, I'm okay. I love to stand and see my beautiful sisters, Assalamu alaikum, and my beautiful brothers, and the imams, and all the leaders, these astounding leaders, and Imam Darnell Karim, I tell you, I've been writing since he started talking, so I don't have room to even put my information on. And of course, Imam Khalil and both of the wives, Sister Gloria, I wanted her to talk more, so we're going to follow her. We got to get Sister Gloria to talk to us more sisters. We have to, because she has some stories we need to hear.
She do.
Yes, and Sister Darlene, we praying for her that she gets stronger. So, and all the family members.
That's right.
Okay, so I didn't bring that. Please give her my greetings. So thank you, David K. Hassan. I just want to tell you a little bit about the NMBC. And I have a lot here to say, but I'm going to brief it because time is getting rough. But Raleigh, do you all know that I'm sorry. See, this is for another, we had two events. So this one was written for Raleigh. But Charlotte, do you all know that there is an estimated 26,000 Muslims in North Carolina? And reflecting a 30%